MOU Immortal City was a new city, it didn't build a slum region. YMO built an immortal city, not a charity city. Those who couldn't afford to stay can only wait till the day MOU sect took in disciples. Those who were accepted didn't have to pay one immortal crystal and would have a better cultivation environment than MOU Immortal City. The Immortal City was done. YMO started to build the MOU Immortal City Defense Formation as well as the Immortal Spirit Chi Gathering Formation. He placed the last top-grade immortal range below the city. When the formation was done, YMO didn't intervene in city management. Itang and them were still responsible. He went into the main peak MOU peak and started his construction. It would be him, Luoying, Ning Qingxue and them staying here, so he must build it himself. At the same time, YMO decided to split the immortal marrow crystal into 3 parts. One would stay in the Golden Page world to form an immortal well and provide for his cultivation. Another part would be placed in MOU Immortal Sect to form an immortal well for sect members, but only people with certain contribution can go in. The last part would be placed on MOU Main Peak. The largest thing in Gonghua Heaven now was MOU Immortal Sect. Even the rebuilding of Extreme Sword Sect wasn't as hot as this. I want to go to Gonghua Heaven, there's 2 king sects being built. I heard that MOU Immortal Sect just started and they need large amounts of disciples. It has very dense immortal spirit chi, and the sect leader is a level 7 immortal pill Grand Master. Wait. I see notifications in every immortal city that MOU Immortal City are taking Luoyu Continent cultivators. Luoyu Continent is just a cultivation realm. Can there be that many disciples? It means that they would take in everyone from Luoyu Continent while the rest of the people just had to be alright in talent. Really? Then I'll go see too. Discussions like these were everywhere in the low heaven domain. Immortals flocked to Gonghua Heaven. Some Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary Stage and Great Eternity Immortal Peak Stage rushed over. They heard that Lu Feng of Huanfeng Merchant Tower reached Immortal King on the spot with the help of the sect leader. Then she joined the sect and became a sect elder. At Huangzhen Heaven, Nuashi Immortal City, 2 hollow immortal men were discussing. Jiefeng brother, do you want to go to Gonghua Heaven? One middle-aged man asked. The skinny, scholarly-looking man hesitated before answering, Brother Meng. Yuheng Heaven is capturing Luoyu Continent cultivators everywhere. If we were caught on the way, it wouldn't be good. Plus, we don't have that many immortal crystals to get there. If YMO was here, he would realize that one was Mengzhen, who escaped to Luoyu Continent from another cultivation realm, and Juyin Island Lord Jiefeng. I heard this notification was made by MOE Heaven Zishuang Immortal Sect. They even said they would pay for the travel fees. Zishuang Immortal Sect is a king sect and there's a mortal king master. They probably wouldn't be scared of you, Hung Heaven Lord Lu Zhengxuan. Plus that MOU Immortal City sounds very familiar. There's a MOU city in South Peace State. Perhaps the two are related. Mengzhen said quietly. Jiefeng hesitated for a while before nodding. That's good. We can't hide forever. I've ascended for a few decades yet, and my cultivation essence still hasn't been converted. Just when they got up, they were stopped by a long-faced immortal. Qian Bei. Mengzhen couldn't even see through the power of this immortal. The immortal sneered, ascended from Luoyu Continent. Very well. We need cultivators like you. You're from Yuheng Heaven? Jiefeng asked in shock. You're very smart. Come with me. Otherwise don't blame me. The long-faced immortal sneered. Jiefeng's heart sank to the bottom. He didn't expect he would eventually fall into the hands of Yuheng Heaven. What enmity does Luoyu Continent cultivators have with Yuheng Heaven? Why are you capturing us? Jiefeng asked word by word. The long-faced immortal said in contempt, You little things don't have the right to know. Just come with me. Jiefeng and Mengzhen were taken away by this long-faced immortal without resistance. Nobody said a thing. In one small corner, a female immortal with her face covered saw this and thought in contempt. I heard of this Jiefeng. He's heartless Si Zhu Island Lord. He's strong, but he's this careless. Hearing their conversation, I wanted to get to know them and go to MOU Immortal Sect together, but now, it seems impossible. At this moment, the huge square of MOU Immortal City was filled with immortals. EMO was also excited standing at the main seat. He had been to quite some sect events, but never had he had such an experience. This time he was sitting at the top. It had been nearly a year since he came to MOU Immortal City. The construction of the city and sect was long complete. He built the main peak, and the rest of the peaks were constructed with Lu Feng and them's help. He was very happy with the design. The Immortal City was running, and today was the disciple intake for MOU Immortal Sect. The stage was filled with guests from big sects and immortal cities. The strongest were all immortal kings. Even sects from other heaven domains came. Immortal friends, thank you for coming to the first disciple intake of MOU Immortal Sect. This time, MOU Immortal Sect will take in 1,000 disciples. Before YMO finished, the square erupted. There were at least a few million immortals here, and more were coming, but they were only taking in 1,000 people. Seeing this, YMO used his immortal essence to suppress the discussion in the square. Everyone calmed down. Although only 1,000 people are taken in this time, we will take in large amounts of disciples every year. As for some excellent immortals who weren't chosen, they can still be in outer sect members and through performance reach inner sect members. Hearing this, everyone finally calmed down. It was mainly Lu Feng and Yitang taking the lead. As for the testing immortal artifacts, YMO made them. Other than some talent testing immortal artifact, he also made a testing door. It would test immortal spirit root, perseverance, and intellect, forming 9 levels. Below level 3 would be disqualified. Only those above level 3 would pass through to 1-to-1 testing. The Cultivation realm cultivators have spirit root, and when they come to Immortal realm, it would turn into Immortal spirit root. A good spirit root in the Cultivation realm doesn't necessarily end up becoming a good Immortal spirit root in the Cultivation realm. The city square was huge. Although there were a lot of people, it didn't seem packed. Only extremely talented immortals would be tested by YMO and Lu Feng personally. Due to YMO's power, many big sects already came to congratulate, even Extreme Sword Sect. Lu Feng greeted them, and for some friendly ones who gave lots of gifts, YMO helped them concoct a cauldron of pills. It was also because the sect needed allies now. This was the 3rd day of testing. The first round was over, but his face was very bad. He asked MOE Heaven Zishuang Immortal Sect to notify the entire low heaven domains, but not a single Luoyu continent cultivator had come. Lu Zhongyan was responsible for this, and he was very awkward. The notification clearly said that Luoyu cultivators had the lowest requirement for joining. Lu Zhongyan and Lu Feng didn't have any good ideas. They felt it was very eerie that no Luoyu continent cultivators came to the city, but they didn't know what went wrong. EMO got up and said Luoyu continent's Immortal Ascension restriction has been broken, and there are quite a lot of truth realization state peak stage in Luoyu continent. There's no way that not a single person hasn't ascended. Lu Feng, I'll leave the MOU sect disciple intake to you. When I come back, we will have our sect opening ceremony. Sect leader Luo, you're going out? Lu Zhongyan asked. EMO nodded. That's right. I'm going to those Immortal Ascension palaces to see for myself. If anyone dares to do anything to my Luoyu continent cultivators, don't blame me for what happens. Lu Feng really wanted to go with EMO, but she knew that she was needed more here. She quickly got up and said, Sect leader, you can go. I'll do my best here. EMO released an extreme-grade immortal artifact and flew off. He was going to the Gonghua Heaven Immortal Ascension Palace to see first and then check the Immortal Ascension Palace of other heaven domains. After EMO flew for just 5 minutes, his spirit sense saw 2 cultivators, one ahead, one behind, flying rapidly towards MOU Immortal City. Clearly, the person behind was hunting the person in front. The person in front was a hollow immortal woman. However, her flying magic artifact was quite good. It was a level 6 middle-grade immortal artifact. The person behind was great extreme immortal, but his flying magic artifact was only a level 4 flying immortal artifact. This way, the two just kept their distance. When Yemo saw who it was running, he was furious. That female immortal covered her face, but under his spirit sense, she couldn't hide at all. The next moment, he stopped the two. Qian Bei. The female immortal saw Yemo's flying chariot and Yemo's powerful pressure and knew she couldn't get away. Yemo sighed. This female immortal was called Shi Luan, South Peace State Heaven Demon Sect. She helped him fight the Flame Sea Forbidden Grounds. At that time, she was only Truth Realization State level 7, but now she had ascended. Even though Yemo didn't ask, He knew that there was a scheme behind no Luoyu people coming to MOU Immortal City. He just came out and saw one being hunted. Resisting his fury, Emo asked coldly, "What's going on?" "Qian Bei. This woman is my maid, but she stole my flying magic artifact and ran off. Wan Bei is chasing him. Wan Bei's master is Hung Yu Heaven Jun Zi, Immortal King Master." The Immortal bowed. He couldn't even see Yemo's power level. This meant Yemo was probably Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary Stage or even halfway Immortal King. An ordinary person would have believed this. Shi Luan was a mere hollow Immortal Primary Stage. How could she have middle-grade flying Immortal Artifact? Qian Bei. This person is lying. My flying magic artifact came from my sect. I don't even know some Junzi Immortal King Master. How can I be his maid? Shi Luan explained. Emo asked the Great Extreme Immortal, "How long has she been your maid for?" "Over 100 years, or we wouldn't trust her this much." The Great Extreme Immortal lied. Emo sneered. A few decades ago he still saw Shi Luan at South Peace State. This Great Extreme Immortal was full of shit. "Bullshit. I've only ascended for a bit over 10 years. Shi Luan rebuked. Emo ignored the Great Extreme Immortal and looked at Shi Luan asking, "You're called Shi Luan? South Peace State Heaven Demon Sect member, right?" Shi Luan looked at Emo in shock. She never told Emo her origin. How did she know? But she quickly calmed down and bowed. "Yes. Qian Bei. Wan Bei is Shi Luan from South Peace State Heaven Demon Sect. How do you know me, Qian Bei?" Seeing the two knew, the Great Extreme Immortal was worried and looked around for a way to escape. "It's simple. I have a martial brother called Emo. He asked me to help him build MOU Immortal Sect to attract the Immortals from Luoyu continent. He gave some images of the friends he knew. You were one of him. He's in solitary cultivation, so I am dealing with these things." Emo smiled. "Ha!" Shi Luan called out in joy. She didn't expect Emo ascended and still remembered someone like her. No wonder MOU Immortal Sect notified all the low heaven domains. So this sect is built by City Lord Yi. Shi Luan breathed easy. "Yes, but I'm curious, why hasn't a single Luoyu cultivator come to MOU Immortal Sect? Is there too little people who reach Immortal Ascension?" Emo sighed. Shi Luan suddenly said desperately, "Qian Bei. Wan Bei came here to report this to Qian Bei." Emo smiled. "Call me Martial Brother Luo. Take it easy, talk slowly." The Great Extreme Immortal reproached. "Our heaven domain heaven lord is Jun Zi Immortal King. If you dare to offend..." Emo sneered, and before the Great Extreme Immortal finished, killing intent swept out, and the Great Extreme Immortal was like struck by lightning. His immortal essence and meridians went chaotic. The next moment, his main meridian exploded and blood splattered. His meridians felt like they were bitten by countless bugs. The pain was inextricable. He wanted to beg for mercy, but he couldn't even speak. How could he not know now that this person was an immortal king too? A very powerful one. "Speak." Emo signaled Shi Luan to continue. Shi Luan felt satisfied seeing this Great Extreme Immortal who hunted her getting subjugated. She bowed. "I heard many heaven domains are capturing Luoyu continent cultivators. They are all very scared. Many have been caught already. It said the captivators are from Yu Hung Heaven. Before I came, I saw Zhu Yin Island Lord Jiefeng getting captured. I was very careful on my way here, but I was still caught by this person. There must be many people from Yu Hung Heaven hiding in Gonghua Heaven. Lu Zhengquan, you old bastard." Emo roared furiously, and his killing intent soared. Although the killing intent didn't target this Great Extreme Immortal, he was already scared soulless. Emo waved a spirit sense blade into the Great Extreme Immortal Sea of Consciousness and asked coldly, "How many people did Lu Zhengquan send to each heaven domain to capture Luoyu continent cultivators?" The Great Extreme Immortal answered in horror, "I don't know about other heaven domains. 30 came to Gonghua Heaven. Where are they?" Emo was more and more furious. "I don't know," the Great Extreme Immortal quickly said. Emo burst his immortal essence, and this Great Extreme Immortal was blasted into pieces. Martial Brother Luo. Seeing Emo's means, Shi Luan felt a bit uneasy. Just when Emo wanted to speak, he looked into the distant sky, and soon, A dashing light arrived before Yemo. Sect leader Luo. I just wanted to go find you at MOU Immortal City, but you're here, this is great. Zishuang sect leader Sii Chung Immortal King Li Kai smiled and stopped his flying magic artifact, saluting with his fists. Yemo's face was very bad. He knew it had nothing to do with Sii Chung Immortal King, but him not doing his job properly was one reason too. If he did do it seriously, he would know Luo Yu cultivators were being hunted. Seeing Yemo's face, Sii Chung Immortal King's heart skipped. It seemed sect leader Luo also received the news he got. Sii Chung Immortal King quickly said, Sect leader Luo, I believe you already know. For some reason Yu Hung Heaven Lord Junzi Immortal King is capturing Luo Yu continent cultivators. I just got this news. I captured more than 10 people in Gonghua Heaven. Now I came to ask for your opinion. Yemo nodded. He knew that after all, Sii Chung Immortal King was just helping. He said, I'm going to Yu Hung Heaven to annihilate Lu Jingxuan and his Heaven Lord estate. I have something I want to ask you to help with. Ha! Sii Chung Immortal King was dazed by Yemo's words. One can't just simply say that so casually. Brother Luo, although there aren't a lot of immortal monarch in the low heaven domain, but there still is. Lu Jingxuan is a heaven domain lord. If you attack him, it might bring out domain protection immortal monarch or even more powerful being to attack. Even if they can't come, there's a Heaven Lord alliance in the 11 low heaven domains. If you annihilate a Heaven Lord estate for no reason, it would cause big chaos. He was a member of the low heaven domain Heaven Lord alliance. If they fought he would have to fight too, but he already tested Yemo's terrifying power. If an immortal monarch didn't come, he believed even the Heaven Lord alliance would be no match for Yemo. Yemo said coldly, I'm not annihilating a Heaven Lord estate for no reason. Lu Jingxuan is capturing Luo Yu continent cultivators for no reason. If I don't kill this bastard, I can't satisfy the hate in my heart. Sect leader Li, if you're willing, help me capture the people that Yu Hung Heaven set everywhere to capture my Luo Yu continent cultivators and help me go explain to the Heaven Lord alliance. Hearing this, Sii Chung Immortal King sighed. He knew that Yemo knew he was a member of the Heaven Lord alliance. Now he had two choices. One was to continue staying on the good side of MOU Immortal Sect. Second was to join the Heaven Lord Alliance to annihilate Yemo. But he knew Yemo's power clearly. Even the strongest Immortal King of the Alliance was probably no match for Yemo, thinking that Yemo was a level 7 Immortal Pill Grand Master too. Sii Chung Immortal King soon made his decision. Brother Luo, I will gamble this once. I will help you remove all the nails from Yu Hung Heaven and explain to the Alliance what Lu Jingxuan did. If the Heaven Lord Alliance still wants to fight you, I can only stay out of this. Yemo smiled. Brother Li, don't worry. You won't regret the decision that you made today. If you told what happened to the Alliance and they still want to fight me, then there's no point for their existence. To be honest, Yemo felt strange that Lu Jingxuan so overtly went to capture Luo Yu continent cultivators. There was no reason for this, it should be a secret. Did he not care other people would go investigate it? Sii Chung Immortal King took a cold breath in. Sect leader Luo was so dominant. Yu Hung Heaven wasn't very famous in the low heaven domains, but once the Heaven Lord Lu Jingxuan reached Immortal King, Yu Hung Heaven's status rose. Due to this, Fenggang Immortal City, where the city lord estate was more prosperous. Yemo was very disappointed. From the news he got, Lu Jingxuan wasn't at Fenggang Immortal City, he wasn't even in Yu Hung Heaven. Lu Jingxuan's Heaven Lord estate was extremely grand, even on par with Qingwei Heaven City Lord estates. Who are you? How dare you stay in front of the Heaven Lord estate? Yemo studied the place a bit, and a great Unity Immortal landed before him reproaching. Where did Lu Jingxuan go? I came to kill him today. Yemo said coldly. Great Unity Immortal thought it was just a curious person, but hearing Yemo's arrogant words, how could he take it? He couldn't see Yemo's power level, but he saw Shiluan was only hollow immortal. Yemo probably wouldn't be very strong. He was about to release his magic artifact to attack Yemo. Yemo just waved a sword ray and killed this great Unity Immortal. Seeing Yemo had no intentions of taking this great Unity Immortal storage ring, so she quickly went up and picked it up. Seeing Yemo dare to kill a guard at the front of the Heaven Lord estate, the nearby immortals immediately surrounded and looked over in shock. Junzi Immortal King Lu Jingxuan had very high status in the city, and now someone was attacking his door. This was too absurd. Mo looked around at the immortals and said, "Immortal friends, I'm sect leader of MOU Immortal sect. I have no enmity with Lu Jingxuan, but my martial brother is a cultivator from Luoyu continent." But Lu Jingxuan, this bastard, went crazy and hunted the immortal Ascension cultivators of Luoyu continent, making them unable to survive. Today, I came to save the innocent cultivators and get justice from this Lu bastard. The people nearby immediately realized what was going on. MOU Immortal City was famous all over the world. Most people already knew. They also knew of what Lu Jingxuan did. Everyone realized that karma was here. Some immortals who wanted to intervene heard Mo was an immortal king and didn't dare to even talk. If Lu Jingxuan was still in here, he would definitely kill the guy who ordered to hunt Luoyu continent cultivators. That guy misunderstood him. He just wanted to capture a few of them and asked what was going on, not capture everyone and make it known to the world. But in reality, if MOU didn't appear, no one would say anything even if Lu Jingxuan captured all Luoyu continent cultivators. Then, Mo released an ordinary top-grade immortal artifact and sliced down at this Heaven Lord estate. As an immortal king, no matter how grand the Heaven Lord estate, it would be hacked in half. The Great Eternity Immortals and Great Extreme Immortals of the Heaven Lord estate wanted to stop Mo but was instantly killed. The rest of the immortals fled without even daring to fight. Mo couldn't be bothered chasing. He knew that Lu Jingxuan wouldn't spill the chaos tree. He would be keeping it in his heart. In a deep rumble, the Heaven Lord estate with an area of tens of km radius was rapidly destroyed into rubbles. Then, Mo used Immortal Essence Giant Hand to form a huge shovel and scooped up all the rubbles. Then he tipped it into the void. When the shovel was gone, no one could see anything on the land anymore. They didn't know where the things went either. All they could see was a very flat land. The immortals watching took in a cold breath. This was really a wipeout. To Mo, getting justice for Luoyu continent was necessary, but his main reason was the chaos tree. Even if there was a mortal monarch to stop him, he would have to kill Lu Jingxuan. Otherwise, if Lu Jingxuan spilled the news, then it wouldn't be immortal monarchs coming after him but immortal emperor and even divine emperors. Then, Mo hacked out the immortal artifact in his hand again and split the land in half. Then, Mo reached out his immortal essence giant hand and grabbed out rows of cages below the earth. However, these cages had restrictions. Mo waved his hand and the restrictions were removed. The people inside were exposed to the sunlight. "Isn't that Feng Gang Immortal City? Level 6 Immortal Pill Great Master Ku Mu Qianbei? He had disappeared for a few hundred years. I thought he went to Middle Heaven Domain. I didn't expect he was locked up in the Heaven Lord estate. Why is the great elder of our Ganglin Merchant Association locked up in here too? Mangtsong, isn't he the #1 prodigy of Feng Gang Immortal City? Wasn't he sent to Middle Heaven Domain Immortal Monarch sect by the City Lord? Why is he here?" The people inside were all locked up and had this ribs chained. When suddenly exposed to the light, they were dazed. Seeing the many familiar faces, Mo was furious. There were 5 people he knew here: Meng Zhen, Jiefeng, Xianxia, Qi Pei, Quan Luan. Meng Zhen and Jiefeng were his friends, but their meridians were sealed and ribs were locked. Clearly, they suffered greatly. These people were all overlords in the cultivation realm, but now they were so easily trapped. Mo felt a little guilty. These people were here due to him. Mo didn't go save Meng Zhen and them first. He turned to the people nearby and saluted with his fists. "I believe I don't need to say what sort of a person Lu Jingxuan is. He calls himself Junzi Immortal King. I think he can add a fake in front of it. Lu Jingxuan doesn't have a proper Immortal King title. He just named it himself to increase his fame. With what he does, he wouldn't get a very high spot on the status title tower, nor would he get a very good title on Immortal King tablet. Junzi Immortal King my ass." Without Mo needing to do anything, Lu Jingxuan's name was infamous. Mo felt strange. What was this Immortal King tablet? He had never heard about it. Although many friends and familiar people were locked up in the cage, Mo pulled the cages out. The Immortal King hasn't spoken yet, so no one dared to touch it. "Is it Shi Luan goddess ahead?" Qi Pei saw Shi Luan and quickly called out. He was friends with her, and since Yemo set up the 4 states teleportation formation, the truth realization state peak stage masters almost all knew each other. Luan Shi looked at Chi Pei and said in shock, "Martial brother Chi, you ascended too." Chi Pei smiled bitterly. "I was locked up here as soon as I ascended." "Shilwan goddess, how can you be here?" Shilwan waved her hand. "We'll talk about this later." Yemo flung out tens of flame blades, and the immortal artifacts locking their ribs were hacked apart. At the same time, their restrictions were released. Yemo threw out 100 immortal pills and said, "Everyone have one and the hidden injuries will be healed. I'm MOU Immortal Sect leader. If there's anyone who wants to go, I'm very welcome." At the same time, Luo continent cultivators can stand on the side. You can join the MOU Immortal Sect or you can leave. Meng Zhen and Jie Feng rejoiced upon hearing MOU Immortal Sect. This sect was indeed doing things to help Luo continent. They came as soon as they were captured. Those Luo cultivators who were locked up early were confused. They heard of MOU City. Was this MOU Immortal Sect related to it? Shiluan came up and explained. Hearing that the sect leader of MOU continent ascended from Luo continent, everyone realized what was going on. They didn't know what the sect leader was called, but since he came from Luo continent, it was normal that he took care of people from there. Those people who were saved all realized what happened. Yemo not only saved them and gave them immortal pills. They all came up to thank Yemo. At the same time, level 6 immortal pill Great Master Kumu came after chatting a little with familiar people. He was a skinny old man and bowed to Yemo. "Kumu, thank Master for saving my life." Yemo waved his hand. "Immortal friend Kumu, no need to be so polite. We're all Pill Dao pursuers. This is nothing." Yemo said this intentionally. He heard the conversation Kumu had with others. He was stuck in level 6 immortal pill Great Master for tens of thousands of years, unable to progress. Thus, he wanted to leave the city and go to Middle Heaven domain to BT. Lu Jingxuan was very nice to him in the city and they were friends. So, when he was about to leave, he notified Lu Jingxuan, but he didn't expect that he wasn't allowed to leave. Then, he was thrown into prison. Yemo said he was a Pill Dao pursuer because he wanted to attract Kumu to go to MOU Immortal Sect. Hearing this, Kumu indeed asked in surprise and joy, "Master is an Immortal Pill Master too? What level 6 Immortal Pill Master?" "Level 7. MOU Sect lacked a powerful Pill Master other than him." Kumu looked at Yemo in shock, and after a while, he asked in disbelief, "Master is level 7 Immortal Pill Grandmaster?" Yemo knew he was being doubted. He took out a pill and gave it to Kumu. "This is a pill I concocted. What do you think?" Seeing this pill, Kumu was shook. "This is special grade E-King pill," Kumu said shakily. He loved Pill Dao, but that didn't mean he didn't care about his power. He had never had the chance to concoct E-King pill in the countless years of his pill concoction. As a level 6 immortal pill Great Master, he knew this special grade pill almost had no impurities. With this, everyone looked at the E-King pill in shock. MOU Immortal Sect was this wealthy. Even some Emperor Sect from Grand Heaven Domain can't take out E-King pill so easily. Some Great Eternity Immortal Peak Stage and Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary Stage looked at this pill and their eyes went red. If they had this pill, they would have the chance to become Immortal King. If it wasn't that Yemo was an Immortal King, people would be going up to rob it. Kumu looked at it for a while before giving it back to Yemo. "Good pill. Since Master can concoct such pill, it means you're infinitely close to level 8 Immortal Pill Grandmaster. I want to be your disciple. Please take me in, Master." Yemo laughed. "There's no need for that. My MOU Immortal Sect's Immortal Herb Peak is lacking a big elder. If Kumu Immortal Friend don't mind, you can be the big elder there. What do you think? Of course, I will give you some of my pill concoction experience to you. I believe it's not impossible for you to reach level 7 Immortal Pill Grandmaster from that." Hearing this, Kumu immediately knelt on the ground. Kumu is willing to join MOU Immortal Sect, become Immortal Herb Peak Elder. "Okay. Get up first, Elder Kumu. This E-King pill can be a little gift to you," Yemo said happily. Lu Zhongyan didn't intend to start another sect, so Yemo decided to open up an Immortal Herb branch for him in the sect. Lu Zhongyan can manage that branch. Kumu is the big elder and directly responsible to the sect leader. Emo could tell Kumu doesn't really care about position. His passion is in pill Dao. Seeing Emo casually give him such a precious pill, Kumu was more excited. With his Great Eternity Immortal Peak Stage and Immortal Essence Foundation, he just needed to bring himself to his peak state and there would 80% chance he could reach Immortal King. Plus, the experience of Emo was priceless. Even if Emo had more stringent conditions, he would agree. Seeing this, people erupted. Some people were already asking if they could join MOU Immortal Sect. Emo saluted with his fists to them. Everyone. The sect will have a member intake event every year. If you want to join, you can go to MOU Immortal City. It will be the #1 immortal city in the low heaven domains because we have level 7 immortal pill Grand Master. Sect Leader Master, Mang Tsong, thank you for saving my life. I'm willing to join MOU Immortal Sect, but my power is low. I'm willing to go do the test there. A young golden immortal came up to Emo and bowed. Other people wanted to be taken in immediately, but this golden immortal was willing to go take the test. This gave him a good impression. Thinking about the discussion before, he asked, "You're the #1 prodigy of Fenggang Immortal City? Why did Lu Zhengxuan lock you up?" Originally, I wasn't too clear. Lu Zhengxuan was very nice to me and I was very grateful to him. Until one day he took me to his place and sealed my power. Then he called out an essence spirit body. I heard him say to that essence spirit, "What do you think of the body I found for you?" The essence spirit went around me and said, "Top talent, but his immortal spirit root element doesn't really match with me." Only then did I know that Lu Zhengxuan wanted to use me for possession. I was furious, but I couldn't move at all. Mang Tsong spat. Hearing this, everyone started discussing contemptuously about what Lu Zhengxuan did. Emo rejoiced. He wanted this effect. When he killed Lu Zhengxuan in the future, no one would say that MOU did the wrong thing, nor would people go find out why. However, that essence spirit body probably wasn't so simple, or Lu Zhengxuan wouldn't take it so seriously. But you weren't possessed? Emo asked in confusion. Mang Tsong nodded yes, because at this moment, Master Zhiji, whom Lu Zhengxuan invited, had something desperate to tell him. Master Zhiji was invited to predict the future of Yu Hung Heaven. He was very respected by Lu Zhengxuan, so Lu Zhengxuan put away that essence spirit body and said would help him look for me. If he can't find anyone better, it would be me. Do you know why that Master Zhiji came to Lu Zhengxuan? Emo asked. Mang Tsong shook his head. I don't know, but when I was taken away, I was no longer a VIP but a prisoner. I just heard that Master Zhiji say go to Middle Heaven Domain. As for where, I don't know. Emo nodded and reached out his hand, checking Mang Tsong's talent. Moments later, Emo put down Mang Tsong's wrist in shock and asked, "How old are you?" "Wan Bei is 430 years old. Mang Tsong bowed. He felt very proud of himself too. He had never seen someone who cultivated faster than him. You reached Golden Immortal in 400 years? Where did you ascend from? Emo immediately asked. Mang Tsong said respectfully, "Yes, Master. Wan Bei came from Xinqiang continent." Meng Zhen on the side immediately said, You're from the same cultivation realm as me. So Immortal Friend is from Xinqiang continent too. Mang Tsong said joyfully. Emo sighed. Mang Tsong reached Golden Immortal primary stage in 400 or so years, and this was him without having a sect. If he had a sect, his progress would be terrifying. Emo said to Mang Tsong, "Today I will take you in as a temporary disciple. If you perform well, you will be my formal disciple. You have a few martial brothers before you. I will show them to you later." "Thank you, Master." Mang Tsong knelt down and bowed without hesitation. It was a dream to find an immortal king master in the immortal realm. Emo let Mang Tsong get up with his side. Even an immortal emperor would take him as a disciple. Shi Luan brought the rest of the Luoyu continent cultivators to thank him. Emo found there was 2 people he hadn't seen before. After introductions, Emo realized these 2 were called Wang Xiang and Qin Jianu. They were cultivators who kept a low profile. When Emo broke the immortal ascension restriction, they ascended. From this, one could see it was unknown how many powerful cultivators were hidden on a cultivation realm. They just didn't want to come out. If you guys willing to join MOU Immortal Sect, then come back with me. If not, you can leave. There won't be people hunting Luo Yu cultivators in any heaven domain anymore. Emo said. As Emo expected, almost everyone wanted to join Mou Immortal sect. As a newly ascended hollow immortal, it was their fortune to join such a huge sect. How could they reject it? When Emo was prepared to take everyone to leave, his spirit sense caught a familiar figure. He seemed shifty, and before he could get away, Emo grabbed him over with Immortal Essence giant hand. Emo knew this guy. When he killed Lang Yin, this guy forcefully ascended to run away. He was probably the great elder of the Ice God Palace. Master, Wan Bei is just an onlooker. It has nothing to do with me. He was when you old bastard. You tricked me Quan Luan to come here and get caught, and now you say this has nothing to do with you. A furious voice sounded. Emo knew this woman. He taught her a lesson in the cultivation realm before. She was the #1 master of West Extreme State Snow Forest Pond Quanlan. She had a disciple called Mu Feihuan. Master, I know Lu Zhengxuan. Wen knew he couldn't get away, so he wanted to say everything he knew, but Emo didn't want to ask him here. He took Wen on the teleportation formation and left. News of Emo coming to Yu Hung Heaven and wiping out the Heaven Lord estate soon shook the entire 11 low heaven domains. The rest of the captivators all heard news of the incident and Lu Zhengxuan's infamy. They all changed their names and hid themselves. Because Emo attacked too fast, Li Kai could only capture 20 or so people. Helplessly, Li Kai could only take these people to Mou Immortal sect. Emo killed them all without hesitation. When Emo brought the people back to Mou Immortal City, 1,000 sect members had been taken in. There were people ranging from Hollow Immortal to Great Eternity Immortal. With the people Emo brought back, the sect opening ceremony was held earlier than Extreme Sword Sect. Everything Emo did made the rise of Mou become inevitable. Countless sects came to Gonghua Heaven to celebrate. The city lord of Mou Immortal City was Yi Tung, and the vice city lords were Zhui Yuseng and Jiang Jin. Time flew by. This was the 10th months of Mou sect opening. The city and the sect went on right course. Emo didn't even need to intervene. With Lu Feng's experience, the sect was organized very well. Some experienced Great Eternity Immortals were sent to different positions. Lu Feng was just the peak lord of one peak, but what she did was like a vice sect leader. Emo felt strange that the Heaven Lord Alliance didn't come to him. Things seemed to have just ended there. But no matter what, Emo knew things didn't end here. He knew from when that Lu Zhengxuan went Middle Heaven Domain. When one was a hollow immortal, but he could know such thing. This meant he was a core member of the Heaven Lord estate. Emo knew why Lu Zhengxuan went to Middle Heaven Domain. He must have predicted his location and went to find him. However, he came back down to the Low Heaven Domain. Mou sect has pretty much calmed down, and Kumu was in solitary cultivation ready to break through to Immortal King. Even Lu Feng didn't have much things to do now. Emo hasn't built up the treasure library of the sect. It's not that he didn't have time to, but there were too little people in Mou. If he left, there wouldn't even be a person to guard it. As for Mangtsong, Emo gave him a new cultivation method and let him cultivate on Mou peak. After these few months, Emo had decided to leave and after a while come back as his original identity. However, Lu Feng suddenly came to him. Martial brother Luo, do you have time? Lu Feng had some small talk and asked. Emo nodded. I'm free, but I'm planning to go to Master and see if Martial Brother is done with solitary cultivation. At the same time, I'll tell Master and Martial Brother about the sect, and then I'll go with Master to Chaos Star Realm. My Martial Brother might come back. Lu Feng hesitated for a moment before saying, It's this. My cultivation level has stabilized. The time for king naming is about to come. I want to go to Moe Heaven to get named. Would Martial Brother Luo be able to come with me? Just when Emo wanted to ask what king naming was, he suddenly remembered hearing some rumors about Lu Zhengxuan. His Immortal King title seemed to be gifted by friends. There seemed to be a special place to give Immortal King title. If he didn't know anything, Lu Feng would be suspicious. Thinking about this, Emo said awkwardly, I just reached Immortal King and my Martial Brother went into solitary cultivation. I was planning to be done with my Martial Brother's things before going to king naming, and now you came to me. Lu Feng heard this and rejoiced. That's great, Marshall Brother Luo, we can go together. I was worried about going alone. Emo dazed and didn't ask what there was to worry about. He said, I was in solitary cultivation before and came out after reaching Immortal King, so I still wanted to go ask Master what I needed to watch out for. Lu Feng wasn't suspicious and immediately said, Marshall Brother Luo, you don't need to go back and ask. King naming is very simple. I have some information here. Lu Feng gave Emo a jade slip. Emo looked inside and rejoiced that he made a good excuse or he would have been exposed already. There were 3 Immortal King tablets in the Immortal realm. Every immortal who reached status Immortal could go to anyone and leave their name. After doing so, the Immortal King tablet would show their Immortal King title. But not all Immortal Kings would accept this title. Some people didn't like it and would use a title of their own or given by friends. But that was only amongst friends. If they joined any event or tournament, they would have to use their title from Immortal King tablet. Once you were named on the Immortal King tablet, you would enjoy the fortune of the Immortal realm and sense the universal laws more clearly. Lu Zhengxuan accepted Junzi Immortal King because he wanted to be more famous. It was just like Extreme Sword Sect Qin Peifu and Yang Zai. They didn't have a title, but they made one up. Only this way would Extreme Sword Sect seem more powerful. Emo breathed easy. He thought that you made your own title. 1,000 years is up? Emo looked at the jade slip. King naming was very messy before, but later on, system gradually formed, and that was the king naming every millennium. Lu Feng immediately said, no, there's still their years before the 1,000 years, but those who wants to get named have to go beforehand. There's a title status tower next to every Immortal King tablet. One must go in first before king naming. You can sense the world Dao waves inside and gain enlightenment on power and God art. The longer you stay there, the better it is for your future. Of course, most importantly, the better for king naming. There's 81 levels in the tower. Each level has 9 rooms. If we go in later, the rooms will be taken by others and we can only stay at the worst spot or wait for another 1,000 years. In the tower, the higher level you go, the more benefits you receive and the better your Immortal King title. The level in the tower you reach corresponds to the spot of your name on the Immortal King tablet. In that case, people would be long there already. If we go now, wouldn't we still be behind others? Plus, there's 700 or so rooms. There wouldn't be 700 Immortal Kings appearing together in 10,000 years. Emo asked. It seems you really know nothing about the Immortal King tablet and title status tower. Lu Feng explained. When the 33 heaven domains first split, there were 3 Immortal King tablets. At that time, there wasn't title status tower. Immortal Kings could go to Immortal King tablet whenever they wanted. Later on, when the heaven domains united to agree to king naming every 1,000 years at the same time, a title status tower appeared next to each Immortal King tablet out of nowhere. At the same time, people found that if you wanted to get your Immortal King title, you would have to go to the tower. Only when you meditate inside the tower would your power be stronger after king naming. The tower opens a year before the Immortal King tablet. The higher you go, the better the Dao waves. Emo realized, so that means if we go late, we can only stay at the bottom floor and not go to the top floor? But even so, we don't need to go a few years ahead. Lu Feng shook her head. No, you can't easily go up to higher floors. Usually, if one can reach 50 levels, they would be extremely powerful amongst Immortal King. I don't know about middle and grand heaven domain, but in the low heaven domain, ordinary Immortal Kings are around 20 to 40. In fact, there's only 300 rooms or so from level 1 to level 40. The rooms below level 20 aren't very valuable. Thus, the people are fighting over 100 or so rooms, so it's very intense. Before the title status tower opens, those people going to get king names would stay at the Immortal King tablet square to sense the tower's Dao waves. The better they feel it, the higher they would be able to climb in the tower. Some people would even go ahead 5 or 6 years. Emo asked in confusion, even so, there should be enough for the low heaven domain. There would be an extra 100 or so Immortal Kings in the low heaven domain every 1,000 years. Lu Feng sighed. If it was just the low heaven domain competing, then this 100 or so is enough. But like the Immortal King tablet, the tower is in 3 different heaven domains, but it's the same thing. If you go in from any heaven domain, you will end up in the same place. So all the immortal kings in the 33 heavens are fighting over the rooms. The real competition is over the rooms form level 36 to 45 or so. People aren't interested in the rooms below that. People can't get into the rooms that are too high. It's a big competition every time. Many immortal kings who lost inside the tower would stay at the square looking for trouble with others. That's why I asked if Martial Brother Luo could come with me. Then can't you wait till you're strong before you go there? Every immortal king only has 3 chances since the tower appears. This means if you haven't gone within 3,000 years of reaching Immortal King, you would never have the chance to do so again. Those who can't get named is said to be unable to reach Immortal Monarch. They might have to stay an Immortal King for the rest of their lives. Emo nodded. My master is always in solitary cultivation. If you didn't tell me about this, I really wouldn't know. This tower reminds me of Yuanlu Heaven's Dao-Seeking Tower. I also heard there's a Dao-Seeking Tower in the Grand Heaven Domain. What's this about? Lu Feng answered, it's pretty much the same as the Immortal King Tablet. The Dao-Seeking Tower at the Grand Heaven Domain is the same one as the Middle Heaven Domain one. However, Dao-Seeking Tablet isn't the one outside the Middle Heaven Domain. Dao-Seeking Tower Tablet is made by an immortal forgery grandmaster using a Dao-Seeking stone that flew out from the tower. The real tablet isn't called Dao-Seeking Tablet but Dao Rune Tablet. Dao Rune Tablet is in Fan Du Heaven. It's said that if you enter Dao-Seeking Tower at Yuanlu Heaven, the max you can reach is level 6. I don't know if it really is so. Thinking about how he was teleported out before reaching level 7. Emo suddenly believed Lu Feng's words. He might be able to reach level 7 if he went to Grand Heaven Domain's Dao-Seeking Tower. When Kumu reaches Immortal King, we'll go together. It's fine if we wait a year or so, Emo said. Emo also hoped he would see Lu Zhengxuan there. Half a year later, Kumu reached Immortal King in MOU Immortal Sect. MOU got a new Immortal King who was also a level 6 Immortal Pill Great Master. This immediately shook the entire Gonghua Heaven, and all big sects came up to congratulate. MOU Sect had 3 Immortal Kings, one of which who was extremely power. One could see that MOU Immortal Sect was about to be the number 1 sect in the Low Heaven Domain. Kumu just reached Immortal King and needed time to consolidate his power, so he didn't decided to go king naming this time and stayed at the sect. Countless immortals who wanted to join a sect would go to MOU as their first choice. Luckily, MOU didn't take in many, and those who weren't chosen went to take Extreme Sword Sect test. Although Extreme Sword Sect had their spotlight taken by MOU, the entire sect was happy since they got 2 Immortal Kings and none of the core disciples were gone. Plus, there was news of Freedom King being killed by some anonymous master. But in fact, there really was someone who wasn't happy, and it was the number 1 Elder Yang Ren's favorite disciple Zhen Bingyu. Zhen Bingyu wasn't someone who could hide her thoughts. Her expression showed everything. Even Qin Yanmei felt Zhen Bingyu's thoughts. Although they were friends, they were far from close. Hai Chuanwu asked Qin Yanmei about Zhen Bingyu more than once, but Qin Yanmei couldn't give him an answer. Eventually, Hai Chuanwu even made Yan Jiutao ask Qin Yanmei about Zhen Bingyu. Qin Yanmei could only agree to go check out Zhen Bingyu and ask about things. If possible, she would call Zhen Bingyu out and everyone can go out together. Before Qin Yanmei could, she was called over by her father first. Qin Yanmei really didn't want to see her dad, as her dad just didn't like Yan Jiutao. He seemed very favorable towards that Emo and mentioned him more than once. This made her lose the only little good impression she had towards Emo. Emo disappeared with Martial's sister Bingyu before, so her dad barely accepted Yan Jiutao, but now that Emo appeared again, her dad want Emo to be her Dao partner. She really couldn't understand how Emo was better than Yan Jiutao. In her heart, the two was very far apart. She knew her dad asked her to come about this, but she had to go. As soon as Qin Yanmei sat down, Qin Peifu said, Yanmei, after my observation, I need to tell you that Yan Jiutao isn't a suitable Dao partner for you. Is that Emo more suitable for me? Qin Yanmei asked with a headache. Qin Peifu nodded despite knowing it was sarcasm. You're right, that Emo is indeed suitable for you. Sai, your mother isn't here. If she was here, she should be telling you this. Qin Yanmei's eyes went red upon hearing this, and her anger was gone. After some silence she said, Dad, I have nothing with that Emo. He was never interested in me. Why do you always try to get us to get together? We're not suitable. I like Zhu Tao, he truly treats me well. Chen Peifu said seriously this time. Yanmei, tell me, with your looks and status, if Emo was like Zhu Tao, would he treat you the same? He doesn't treat you well because you didn't treat him well. Think about it, when you guys first met, was he like this? I heard that when you saw Emo at the Immortal City, you kept suppressing him to suck up to Yen Jiutao. Anyone would feel unhappy about that, much less Emo. Seeing Qin Yanmei not talk, Qin Peifu asked patiently again, tell me, if you treated Emo with your whole heart, would he do the same? I didn't have time to ask you before, but now the sect is back at its prime, and I need to go out now, so answer me. Dad, you always ask these boring questions. How could I treat him the same as Jiutao? If I do, what about Jiutao then? Qin Yanmei asked helplessly. You just need to answer my question. Qin Peifu said adamantly. Qin Yanmei said helplessly, I don't know, but he seems to be the type who treats the people who treat him with respect the same way. When I found him, he was very close to a few hollow immortals, even though he was a level 3 immortal pill master. He probably isn't someone arrogant. When I made contact with him, he didn't seem to take advantage of people. That's all I know. Okay. Nianmei, I hope you can stay with Emo. Jiutao isn't suitable for you. Qin Peifu said bluntly. Why? Is Jiutao not as good as him? Jiutao is great unity immortal, and his power is stronger than Emo. Jiutao is about to reach level 3 immortal pill great master. In what part is Jiutao inferior to that Emo? Qin Nianmei was annoyed. Qin Peifu said heavily, Nianmei, trust my eyes. My talent isn't so good, but I've never seen wrong of a person. Jiutao's Dao heart is very firm. He's an excellent sect member, but he's not suitable to be your Dao partner. Trust me. Then what makes you think Emo is suitable for me? Qin Nianmei argued back. Qin Peifu didn't answer directly, but said slowly, do you know what Dao heart your martial uncle Xianxia cultivates? I don't know. Qin Nianmei subconsciously shook her head. She cultivates the Dao of no things. It's a branch of Dao of no emotions. It's a little different, but gene really the same. Qin Peifu said seriously. But I feel martial uncle Xianxia is very nice. She treats me nicely too. Qin Nianmei asked in confusion. Qin Peifu shook his head. You don't know what's called Dao of no things. You only see the surface. This Dao heart has nothing inside other than reaching the highest state. You see that martial uncle Xianxia is eager on rebuilding the sect, but that's because the sect is where she cultivates. If there is anything that affects her cultivation, she wouldn't be trapped by emotions. No wonder martial uncle Xianxia doesn't have a Dao partner. Qin Yanmei sighed, but then she thought of something and asked in shock. Dad, doesn't that mean martial sister Bingyu is cultivating Dao of no things? Qin Peifu nodded seriously. Nianmei, this is why I called you over today to discuss with you. Seeing that his daughter was listening carefully, Qin Peifu said slowly, Bingyu is indeed cultivating such cultivation method. Her talent is very absurd, and she was taught by Xianxia since a young age. Her Dao heart is very firm. Theoretically, there is no way her Dao heart would shatter. This means that Bingyu would never fall in love with anyone. Dad, you mean to say that she... Qin Yanmei asked in shock. Yes, Bingyu indeed fell in love. Your martial uncle Xianxia knows this too. Qin Peifu sighed. Who is it? Qin Yanmei asked, but then a figure appeared in her mind. You can probably guess it. It's that immortal pill master Emo. Qin Peifu said helplessly. I know. The Yi guy must have taken advantage of martial sister Bingyu while she was heavily injured. That's why she was helpless. I'm not going to let him go. Qin Peifu sighed. Nianmei, you didn't understand what I meant. That Emo never did anything to Bingyu, and for someone who cultivates Dao of no things, no matter what you do to her, it won't affect her Dao heart. Seeing his daughter still didn't understand, Qin Peifu could only continue. If someone who cultivates that Dao falls in love with someone, that will never change. But it is really difficult for someone who cultivates this Dao heart to fall in love with someone. Unless this person has great perseverance, broad mentality, and astounding capabilities, as well as extreme value on emotions and promise. On top of that, there must be an opportunity. Once a person of this Tao heart falls in love with someone, her Tao heart will turn into emotions that transcends life and death onto this person. That's impossible. Even if Marshall's sister Bingyu likes Emo, it has nothing to do with great perseverance. Emo is at most an immortal pill master. He has nothing to do with great power. Marshall's sister Bingyu is probably just grateful that Emo saved her. Qin Nianmei said. Qin Peifu said seriously, Nianmei, trust me, I won't lie to you. Your Marshall uncle Yang Zai's cultivation method has a huge history. I wouldn't see wrong. If Zhen Bingyu is really in love with Emo, then his future is boundless. Then we can ask Marshall's sister Bingyu what powers Emo has. Qin Nianmei said. Qin Peifu shook his head. If Bingyu really loves Emo, even if you kill her, she wouldn't spill a word. Even if her master asks, she wouldn't say it. Since Marshall's sister Bingyu already loves Emo, Dad, why do you still want me to be with Emo? Isn't this? Qin Nianmei said. Nianmei, if I'm not wrong, your Marshall uncle Yang Zai already sees Bingyu's situation. She would definitely try to make Bingyu reach her original Tao heart. It's hard, but she's Immortal King, and so she should be able to do it. Qin Peifu felt tired. Talking about these things with his daughter really wasn't what he was good at, but he was about to go to Immortal King Tablet Square for king naming. Seeing her father's expectant look, Qin Nianmei really couldn't argue anymore. She favored Yan Jiutao, but she knew her father was doing what was best for her. Zhen Bingyu was sitting in her room dazing. Other people didn't know who MOU Immortal Sect leader Luo was, but she did. It was Emo. Bingyu? A soft voice woke her up. Master. Zhen Bingyu quickly got up, not expecting her master would come. Sit down. Yang Zai sat down and said. Zhen Bingyu did so obediently. Yang Zai said directly, Bingyu, my Immortal King title is a temporary one for rebuilding the sect. Soon, I will be going to the Immortal King Tablet Square with sect leader for king naming. Yang Zai sighed, although it's only going to be a few years, but I'm still worried about you. She raised her hand to stop Zhen Bingyu from talking. Yang Zai looked at Zhen Bingyu and asked, Bingyu, tell me, is your Tao heart broken? Zhen Bingyu got up and bowed to her master. Disciple is no longer cultivating a Tao heart that only has the great Tao. When Zhen Bingyu cultivated Yemo's body refinement cultivation method, her Tao heart subtly changed. Then, do you have someone you love? Yang Zai asked. I don't know. I just know that I've been thinking about Emo non-stop these days. I just want to be with him. My Tao heart isn't firm. Please punish me, master. Zhen Bingyu thought Extreme Sword Sect no longer existed, so she came back to check and would follow Emo wherever he went. But now, the sect was here and both the sect leader and master came back. Would you still go find that Emo after I punish you, or would you cultivate the Tao heart of no things again? Yang Zai asked. Disciple probably can't do it. Zhen Bingyu's voice was soft, but her tone was firm. Yang Zai smiled. Bingyu, sit down. I didn't come to blame you this time. Ha! Zhen Bingyu sat down and looked at her master in confusion. She knew her seriously her master was with Tao heart. Yang Zai sighed, if I didn't reach Immortal King, I would definitely make you keep perfecting your Tao heart. But after reaching Immortal King, I realized that Tao of no things isn't perfect. Perhaps the cultivation method I got wasn't perfect. This cultivation method wouldn't allow us to reach the highest state. So even if you didn't lose your Tao heart, I would make you realize this. I saw that Emo before. I've always thought he had great potential and is no ordinary person. He was probably beyond level 3 immortal pill master before. Since he can break your Tao of no heart and make you love him, he's definitely a person of great capability and perseverance. His future is boundless. You chose the right person. Ha! Zhen Bingyu looked at her master in confusion. She had never thought about that. She just purely wanted to be with Emo. She missed every day with Emo. Yang Zai knew what her disciple thought but didn't say anything. She didn't ask what happened between the two, but she knew something beyond the ordinary definitely happened. Otherwise, even if Emo had a great secret, he wouldn't be able to make Zhen Bingyu fall in love with him. If possible, you can invite Emo to live here or you can keep staying with him. I won't blame you. Yang Zai smiled. Zhen Bingyu finally understood what her master meant and said, Bingyu thank Master. She knew that she couldn't go find Emo. If she could, she would have long gone. Emo was now the sect leader of MOU Immortal sect. If she went to find Emo, wouldn't that mean Emo was the sect leader? Xianxia smiled. Nimi is here again, you guys talk. I'm going to the sect leader to discuss about Immortal King Tablet. You need to cultivate hard too. If the difference between you two is too great, you would eventually get farther and farther apart. Qin Peifu calculated many things, but he didn't expect that Yang Zai's Dao heart was beginning to change too. Zhen Bingyu quickly got up to send off her master while thinking about what she said. Her master was right. She was growing further and further apart from Emo thinking about this. Zhen Bingyu made up her mind. Since her master already agreed, she would use the rest of her time to cultivate hard. Plus, Emo gave all those cultivation resources to her. Then Qin Nianmei walked in. Martial sister Nianmei. Zhen Bingyu knew what she needed to do now and brightened up. Martial sister, you seem to be in a good mood, Qin Nianmei said. Zhen Bingyu smiled. Yes, master, enlighten me. Hearing this, she thought Zhen Bingyu set aside Emo. Thinking about how her dad would be trying to bring her and Emo together, she felt uncomfortable. What do you need? Zhen Bingyu just wanted to put all her time on cultivation now. Qin Nianmei rubbed her head. It's my dad. He forces me to be with Emo and made me come ask you where Emo is. Sigh. Zhen Bingyu smiled. Martial sister Nianmei, you don't need to worry at all. Why? My dad is pressuring me, saying that Jiutao is not suitable for me and that I must grasp Emo. I really don't get how Emo is so good, Qin Nianmei said. Zhen Bingyu nodded. It's not with you but with Emo. He wouldn't be interested in you. Even if sect leader asks you to be with him, he wouldn't be with you, so you don't need to worry. Zhen Bingyu's words were too blunt. Qin Nianmei was angry and she grunted. Martial sister Bingyu, I'm quite famous in Gonghua heaven for my beauty. Even if I'm not as pretty as you, I'm not low to the extent that Emo wouldn't even be interested in me. Plus I knew Emo way earlier than you. Is he interested in you instead of me? Zhen Bingyu didn't mind Qin Nianmei's attitude and said plainly, he wants interested in me, but I know him better than you. You don't know him at all. Martial sister Bingyu, are you saying I'm superficial? I never liked that guy, but now I'm interested. I want to see if that Emo likes the superficial me. Qian Nianmei said, but she saw Zhen Bingyu's face not change at all. When she found Emo to act as her Dao partner, that guy agreed quickly. She didn't believe that if things happened again that guy would reject. Qin Nianmei didn't want to stay here anymore. She got up angrily, but at the door, she couldn't resist asking Martial sister Bingyu, did you know that Emo has a wife? I know, he has more than one, he told me. Zhen Bingyu's reply almost made Qin Nianmei trip. There were countless immortal cities in the immortal realm, but they all had different names except King naming Immortal City. There was 3 of them, one each in low, middle and grand heaven domain. The one in low heaven domain was in MOE heaven. The city was very popular now as it was the once a millennium king naming time. Although there weren't many immortals reaching Immortal King in this millennium, there were about 30 people including the ones who didn't come before. The city was popular as many people came to watch this event and sense the Dao waves of the Immortal King Tablet. The biggest place in the city was the Immortal King Tablet Square. In the middle there was a huge tablet that one's spirit sense couldn't see the top. It wrote the Immortal King title and name of the Immortal Kings. Next to this tablet was a huge tower that also soared into the clouds. It was shrouded in cloud and spirit sense couldn't see its full look as well. There were 20 or so immortals sitting before the tower and tablet. Their eyes were closed as though feeling something. The square was huge, but now, not an immortal below status immortal dared to come. This is Immortal King Square? Emo asked. Lu Feng nodded seriously. Yes, this is it. The tall tower is title status tower. Many immortal kings are sitting before the tower feeling its qi and Dao wave. When the tower opens, those who could feel the Dao waves better would be able to climb up faster. Why are there levels on the Immortal King tablet? Emo asked. Lu Feng nodded. Usually, your Immortal King title depends on how many tower levels you can climb. There are 81 levels on the tablet. If you can reach the top of the tower, Then once you get named you can walk to the top and mark your name. Emo scanned the 20 or so people sitting on the square. They were all indeed Immortal King primary stage. It seemed he overestimated how many people could reach Immortal King in the low heaven domain. It had been 1,000 years and only 20 or so. Perhaps many of them didn't go to the king naming in the millennium they reached Immortal King. There's actually quite some Immortal King here. Many people would leave low heaven domain after reaching Immortal King to middle or grand heaven domain. Otherwise, it's impossible to break through to Immortal Monarch. Lu Feng said, "Let's go in too." Lu Feng found a good spot and took out a cushion and sat down. There was very little people, so it was easy to find a good spot. Emo sat next to Lu Feng and started to feel the tower's Tao waves. Soon Emo felt it. This Tao wave was a fusion of his power, God art, immortal essence and spirit sense. At the same time, it had a sliver of understanding towards Immortal King Tao status. It also included the power and weakness of every level. Once you learn level 1, then you can learn level 2. Once you learn all 81 levels, a few decades would have probably passed. These things were good for ordinary Immortal Kings, but Emo wasn't really interested. He might as well sit under bitter bamboo for a year. Plus, he wouldn't want to waste a year here. He would rather find a place for solitary cultivation. Thinking about this, Emo got up. Seeing this, Lu Feng felt strange. Emo quickly said, "I have some business, you can stay here. I'll come back when the tower opens." Lu Feng nodded and stayed there. At this moment in extreme wind heaven, Yuanxing Immortal City in an ordinary immortal tower, more than 10 immortals gathered around a huge hall. The immortal tower looked like an ordinary immortal cultivation home, but there was no way ordinary people could get in. There was no road towards here and there were restriction formations everywhere. This immortal tower was the number 1 immortal tower of the low heaven domains, Heaven Lord Tower. Heaven Lord Alliance was here. The atmosphere in the hall was heavy. No one spoke for a long time. There were 16 people sitting inside. They were all Immortal Kings. "That Luo guy is indeed too cocky." One chubby Immortal King grunted. MOU Immortal Sect rose up in Gonghua Heaven, but not only did they not go through Gonghua Heaven Lord when they set up sect, but they also forcefully wiped out the Yu Hung Heaven Lord estate. Bai Qi Immortal King is right. This Luo guys is too cocky. One Dao-robed Immortal King said, and then looked at a blue-faced Immortal King. This blue-faced Immortal King grunted uncomfortably. "Ji Dao Immortal King, what are you looking at me for? Although I'm Gonghua Heaven Lord, can I do anything about MOU Immortal Sect?" Ji Dao Immortal King sneered. "This person opened a sect in Gonghua Heaven, but he didn't even go greet you. At least you can reproach him." Blue-faced Immortal King said in contempt, "Freedom King has been cocky in Gonghua Heaven for more than some time now. When I asked everyone to help annihilate him, what did you guys say? No one helped. Freedom King is that powerful and he was easily annihilated by sect leader Luo. Do you guys think I've lived for too long asking me to go find sect leader Luo? I haven't been to his sect events a few times. It already shows my standings. Sii Chung Immortal King is very close to sect leader Luo. Why do you go talk to him? Okay. Everyone stop fighting, there's no point in this. MOU Immortal Sect leader Luo isn't someone we can stop. Even I'm probably no match for him. He couldn't stand kill Freedom King. Suppressed by Chen Immortal King immediately and make Sii Chung Immortal King have no temper. This means he's at least Immortal King peak stage or halfway Immortal Monarch. No one here is a match for him. A green-robed old man sitting at the top said. Bai Qi Immortal King saluted with his fists. I think if Vice Alliance leader Lu leads the charge and we all attack him, it's still possible. The green-robed man waved his hand. I've seen a recording of him fight. Even if we all attack, we might be able to take him, but we're going to lose more than half the people here. Everyone has heard of Wu Shuang Immortal Emperor and Wei Feng Immortal Emperor's conflict, right? Wei Feng Immortal Emperor beat Wu Shuang Immortal Emperor, but the Grand Heaven Domain lost 9 Immortal Emperors and Wei Feng Immortal Emperor was heavily injured himself. We have very little Immortal Kings in the Heaven Lord Alliance and Sii Chung Immortal King seem to be wanting to join MOU. If we fight with force, there's no good for us. So are we going to let it go? One Immortal King interrupted. The green-robed old man sneered, Let it go? If he just set up a sect without notifying, then we can let it go. But he destroyed Yu Hung Heaven Lord estate. If we just let it go, is there a need for this alliance to exist? He will soon understand that Heaven Lord estate isn't to be touched easily. The green-robed old man scanned the other immortal king and continued. 2 years later, Chang Tian Immortal Monarch will finish solitary cultivation. No matter how strong of an immortal monarch that Luo Gai is, he can't beat an immortal monarch, right? The green-robed old man knew that when many people here mentioned Yemo, they used sect leader Luo, meaning that some of them was scared of Luo. They didn't want to start trouble with him, especially Gonghua Heaven Lord Meng Changxue. With MOU's current dominance, if he really brought the Heaven Lord Alliance to fight Luo, they wouldn't even need to fight and they would break up internally. Okay. We'll see how this Luo will be cocky after Chang Tian Immortal Monarch finished solitary cultivation. Bai Qi Immortal King agreed. The green-robed old man waved his hand. I just got news that Luo and his Lufeng Elder went to King naming Immortal City. 2 years later, Chang Tian Immortal Monarch would be able to finish solitary cultivation right when the tower is about to close. Then we'll go together and seal the city. We must not let this person go, otherwise, there would be endless troubles. Alliance leader Lu is right. Before we kill this Luo, we best not touch his MOU Immortal sect nor the sect members. One short Immortal King said. That's right, this guy is a maniac. Lu Zhengxuan just captured a few low-level cultivators. He doesn't need to wipe out the entire Heaven Lord estate. If we touch his immortal sect, there would probably not be a day of peace in the low heaven domain. So before we kill this man, we can't touch the sect. Once this person is killed, we can move the Heaven Lord Alliance to MOU Immortal Mountain. That's a good place indeed. The green-robed old man nodded. Most people from the Heaven Lord Alliance had sects or cultivation home. If they pissed this madman from MOU Immortal sect and this maniac wasn't killed, who knows what would happen. At the same time, in the west barren sands of Yuanlu Heaven, this place had arid immortal spirit Qi and little people came. Yemo came here to break through to great unity immortal. In the middle of the sands was a white-faced short-bearded man. He wasn't beautiful, but he looked righteous. He grabbed a shard with immortal essence giant hand from the sands, and after a while he said bleakly, "It seems he purposely threw the teleportation formation card here and drew me here." The man had nothing around him, but suddenly, a hollow essence spirit figure came. He looked at the stone tablet for a while and said, "He did place it here indeed, but he didn't break the card. It was detonated by a low-level self-detonation formation. As for why he did so, it's very hard to guess. From the explosion, it seems this person's power is around Great Unity Immortal to Great Extreme Immortal." Kaimi Qian Bei, you're saying this guy reached Great Unity Immortal in just a few decades? The middle-aged man asked in shock. The essence spirit said, "This isn't impossible. If his talent is absurd and his fortune amazing, then it's possible. Other than that, there is something extremely powerful in the immortal realm. It can definitely let him reach this level quickly. It's far from as powerful as the life tree, but it's definitely the best magic artifact in the immortal realm." "What is it?" the middle-aged man asked shakily. The essence spirit seemed to have sunk into thought and said after a long while, "There was once an absurdly powerful person, but for some reason we all gained up on him and both sides were heavily injured. This person is not only extremely powerful, but he has many treasures that others don't even dare to imagine. Our treasures combined couldn't compare with his. This thing is one of his treasures too. It's the time formation disk. If I'm not wrong, this person is still not completely dead." "Time formation disk?" the middle-aged man repeated in shock. The essence spirit nodded. "That's right, the time formation disk. If you use immortal crystals, it can slow down time to a 1:100 ratio. That means if you stay inside for 100 years, the outside world has only experienced 1 year. There's such an absurd item in this world? It can indeed compare with the chaos tree." The middle-aged man's face was green with excitement. The essence spirit denied. "The time formation disk is forged by someone. One can only say its use is sometimes on par with the life tree. But in reality, the time formation disk is far from as valuable as the chaos tree, not even worth 1/millionth of the chaos tree. The tree was born of chaos. How could it be comparable with something that is artificial? The middle-aged man's face suddenly changed and clenched his fist. Who? Who dares to destroy my Heaven Lord estate? Clearly this white-faced man was Lu Zhengquan. Feng Gang Immortal City's Heaven Lord estate is destroyed? The Essence Spirit asked in confusion. Lu Zhengquan clenched his teeth. Yes. The estate has my spirit sense mark. If it's destroyed, I would know immediately. Suddenly, a flaming messenger flying sword landed in Lu Zhengquan's hands. Lu Zhengquan opened it and said in confusion, Master Ji said the person I'm looking for might have gone to low heaven domain. How is this possible? Didn't he say the person was in the void before? The Essence Spirit said seriously, it's very possible. If that person has a very good flying immortal artifact, he can fly to the low heaven domain from the void. Plus your Heaven Lord estate is destroyed. That person probably did it. If he knows the value of the Chaos Tree, he would see you as a threat to remove. A great unity immortal dares to destroy my Heaven Lord estate? Lu Zhengquan didn't dare to believe it. The hollow Essence Spirit sneered, don't forget, he might have time formation disk. If he really got that person's heritage, then he wouldn't just have the time formation disk. There would be things even better than that. The Essence Spirit paused and continued. It's been a few decades since he buried the stone card here. With the time formation disk and that person's heritage, he might have reached Immortal King. Because only you know about the Chaos Tree, the first thing he would do after reaching Immortal King is to come kill you. Lu Zhengquan looked at this Essence Spirit in shock, and after a long while he asked, Kaimi Qianbei, who is that person? The Essence Spirit fell into a long silence. You've never left the low heaven domain. If you went to the grand heaven domain, then you will hear his legend. He's called Truth Divine Emperor. Of course I heard of Truth Divine Emperor. Time formation disk is his? What else does he have? Lu Zhengquan asked desperately. There's no point in asking this now. If the person who destroyed your Heaven Lord estate is really the person you're looking for, the first thing you must do now is capture him and all his things would be yours. If you're too slow, then you would never be a match for him. For you, 1 year of cultivation equals to 100 years of his cultivation. The Essence Spirit said slowly. Lu Zhengquan replied desperately. But Kaimi Qianbei, even if I go back to Yuheng Heaven now, I would need a few years. As for that realm domain teleportation formation, I don't have the right to take it. The Essence Spirit smiled. You don't have a way, but I do. You just need 2 years and you can go back, but you can't go to Immortal King Tablet Square to feel the Tao wave. You can only go in directly. Kaimi Qianbei, I don't really care about the Tao waves. I just want to get back what belongs to us. I can get my king name 1,000 years later. But some things can't wait for a single day. Lu Zhengquan said desperately. I know a secret teleportation formation in the Middle Heaven domain that can go directly to Extreme Wind Heaven, but this teleportation formation needs to be repaired. With your pair and 2 years of preparing materials, it should be fine. Once you prepare the materials, I'll teach you how to repair it. The Essence Spirit said. A year or so had passed. Yemo had been consolidating his power. Even though the time formation disk increased his time by 100, Yemo felt he didn't benefit much. With a few billion immortal crystals and many immortal pills used, his power only progressed a little. This made Yemo feel very desperate. He knew that if any Immortal King primary stage used what he used, they would have reached Immortal King middle stage or even higher. Yemo thought of Yan Zhuqian. What would happen if he had such resources? Is Yan Zhuqian Immortal King tertiary stage or even halfway Immortal Monarch now? Like him, Yan Zhuqian lacked cultivation resources. Yemo believed no matter what, Yan Zhuqian probably didn't reach Immortal Monarch. As for that Lu Zhengquan, Yemo didn't consider him a threat anymore. Yemo left the Golden Page world. He estimated that it was about time to enter the title status tower. He took out Zissou and put it on his back ready to go in. Yemo knew that with his current power, even if he took Zissou from Golden Page world, no one would notice, but it was better to be careful. After this solitary cultivation, Yemo had decided to go Grand Heaven Domain or Chaos Star Realm to find opportunities for breakthrough. Otherwise, he would never be able to break through in the Low Heaven Domain. How is there so many people? Yemo came to the square and dazed. He found there was at least 50 people here and they were all Immortal King primary stage. How were there so many Immortal Kings in the Low Heaven Domain? Elder Lu, what happened to you? Emo immediately noticed Lu Feng standing in a corner with a pale face. Lu Feng saw Emo come and forced a smile. I'm fine. Don't worry. Emo didn't need to check to know she was heavily injured. He took out a pill to her. Eat the pill first and tell me what happened. No need for that. I taught this woman a lesson. Do you have something to say? A coarse voice sounded. Emo immediately saw an immortal king standing near the tower. His eyes were arrogant and faced with contempt. Killing intent circled around him after he said this, as though if Emo dared to say anything he would kill him. There were more than 10 people around him. They all seemed to be together. Emo found in shock that they were all immortal king. You're right. I do have something to say, Emo said coldly. Seeing Emo dared to talk back, this immortal king was furious. He was about to go up and attack but was stopped by a beautiful female immortal next to him. She was an immortal king too. She saluted with her fists to Emo. We came from Miao Chung Heaven. I'm Nan Luo Emperor Sect Chan Yi. We came to Low Heaven Domain to trial in the Chaos Star Realm. We just reached Immortal King in the Chaos Star Realm and it was time for king naming, so we didn't have time to return to Grand Heaven Domain. We can only use MOE Heaven's Immortal King tablet. We had a small misunderstanding with your elder causing some damage. We're willing to give compensation. Chan Yi's words were polite, but her prideful attitude was distinct. She spoke of compensation, but she felt the thing was over already. She would only give a small compensation symbolically. The immortal kings from Low Heaven Domain were very silent. Just from how she was from Grand Heaven Domain Miao Chung Heaven and she came from an emperor sect, no one dared to say a thing. Chan Yi felt her words were very polite. That cocky immortal king sneered, Martial Sister Chan is too soft-hearted. Just a few Low Heaven Domain insects. But he didn't go attack, clearly giving face to his Martial Sister Chan hearing this. Emo was shook, but then fire lit up in his heart. He wasn't shocked about Nanmeng Emperor sect. He even offended Truth Divine Emperor. This Emperor sect was nothing. What he heard was that before they went to Chaos Star Realm, they weren't Immortal King, but after coming out, they all reached Immortal King. Emo ignored the cocky Immortal King and even Chan Yi. He asked Lu Feng, Elder Lu, what happened? Chan Yi frowned when the cocky Immortal King called the Immortal Kings from Low Heaven Domain insects, but she didn't object. She already gave Emo a way down, but Emo instead acted like he didn't hear it and persisted in asking what happened. You want to reason? I'm not going to reason with you. What are you going to do? I hit her. Are you deaf? The cocky Immortal King said in contempt. Emo's killing intent rose, his force swept out. The next moment, those few Grand Heaven Domain Immortal Kings felt their heart shiver. The cocky Immortal King took the full force of this. Before he could even react, he felt he was bound by Immortal King Domain and couldn't move at all. He was extremely shocked. How could an Immortal King primary stage have such complete and dense Immortal King Domain? He wanted to break free, but a huge Immortal Essence giant hand grabbed his neck and wrung him up. The nearby Immortal Kings were dazed, easily grabbing an Immortal King by the neck and subjugating him. What power was this? When was Immortal King primary stage this terrifying? Moments later, the other Grand Heaven Domain Immortal Kings reacted and released their magic artifacts attacking Emo. Emo released Zisu and his violent killing intent rose. In just a second, purple sword rays swept through the entire Immortal King tablet square. Rumble. Cracks sounded non-stop. The entire square was filled with terrifying sounds of magic artifact and immortal essence clashing. In just 10 seconds, all that remained on the square was a purple sword ray that was 10 kilometers long and 100 meters wide. The terrifying killing intent released from it cracked the white jade ground of the square. No one even dared to stare at the killing intent. The scene was silent. Not only the Immortal Kings on the square, but also the Immortals outside looked at Emo and the huge purple sword in the air with extreme shock. Everyone looked at Emo with fervent eyes. This was a true Immortal King. One move and no one from the same level could beat him. Beating more than 10 Immortal Kings from the Grand Heaven Domain in one move. Too powerful. How could there be such a powerful Immortal King primary stage? Chan Yi looked dazzlingly at Emo. The cocky Immortal King called them insects, but it seemed they were the real insects. That subtle, insignificant sword on Yemo's back was this terrifying. Since you don't want to reason, I won't reason then. Emo's killing intent rose, but the immortal king in his hands immediately looked worried and begged for mercy. Immortal friend, please don't kill. Chan-Yi is willing to compensate. Chan-Yi saw that Emo was going to kill and used a completely different tone to apologize. Li He is Yu Cheng Emperor Sect's core disciple. Please have mercy. Chan-Yi said. Emo said plainly, so what if he's Yu Cheng Emperor Sect? I kill whoever I want. Immortal friend, have mercy. Li He is willing to compensate and apologize. This immortal king said. Oh, so you're going to reason with me now? Emo looked at Li He and asked. Yes. I'm willing to compensate and apologize. Li He didn't seem cocky at all now. I'm not going to reason with you. What are you going to do? Emo said in contempt, giving this immortal king's words right back at him. Li He sweated cold. He just realized that he encountered some guy who didn't give a shit. Chan-Yi breathed easy. She could tell that this powerful immortal king had no intentions of killing Li He. Otherwise, would he wait till now? Emo felt annoyed. He had the power to kill Li He, but he had a MOU immortal sect. He really needed to reason. Chan-Yi quickly went up and said, "This is our fault. Li He's temper is too big, causing your elders small injuries." Emo nodded. So that's it. This is small then. Who doesn't have moments of bad temper? Even I have moments of bad temper. It might cause your friend to lose essence spirit. After all, it's an accident. Before Emo finished, Emo used immortal essence and Li He spat multiple mouthful of bloods. This was the end. The blood kept spewing out as though it was going to drain the immortal king of his blood. Chan-Yi saw that Emo had no intentions of killing Li He and knew Emo was concerned. She was planning to give some small compensation and give Emo a way down. But now that she saw Emo really dared to kill Li He, she immediately knew she was wrong. She quickly said, "We're willing to take out 200 million immortal crystals and 2 level 8 immortal spirit herb, 6 level 7 immortal spirit herb. Are you sending off a beggar?" Emo said coldly, but he was shocked. Just what did they encounter in the Chaos Star realm? They could even get level 8 immortal spirit herb. Don't attack. I have a shoe in blue flame. I'm willing to use this flame. Li He was scared soulless from the blood. He didn't dare to wait at all. Emo's immortal essence loosened up and he said plainly, "It's just a mere shoe when blue flame, but on the account of your genuine attitude, I'll let things go." Then Emo threw Li He on the ground. Li He took out a jade box without hesitation and gave it to Emo while his heart bled. In the Chaos Star realm, he earned the most due to this flame. But now it was no longer his. Emo took the flame and rejoiced. Shu when blue flame was rank 21 stin the 108 flames, it was a heaven flame. This was a type of 9 clear flame, it was truly something good. His South Abyssal Void Flame is purple Nirvana level 3. If it devours a 9 clear flame, it would reach Immortal Flame. Emo didn't want to use Mist Lotus Heart Fire, so this Shu when blue flame was perfect. Immortal friend. Shu when blue flame will become one of the most important flames of Yu Cheng Emperor Sect. If you take this flame away. Chan-Yi knew how important the flame was to an Emperor Sect. If Emo really took it, Yu Cheng Emperor Sect wasn't going to let things go. "Oh, since you don't want to use this flame to compensate me, then take it. I don't want others to say I robbed it from you." Emo gave the flame back to Li He. Seeing this, Li He quickly waved his hand. "No need, no need. This isn't the sex, I got it temporarily." The other immortal kings from Grand Heaven Domain shook their heads. As long as Li He said nothing, Yu Cheng Emperor Sect would have an excuse to find Emo. They could still find Emo now, but they clearly would have no excuse. Emo sneered and looked at Chan-Yi. "Which one of you is correct? Is this flame private owned or belong to Yu Cheng Emperor Sect?" Chan-Yi looked contemptuously at Li He and could only say, "Since Li He said this flame is his, I probably got things wrong." Emo raised the flame and said, "Li He beat my MOU Immortal Sect Elder for no reason. Now, he gave me this shoe when blue flame for compensation. This conflict ends here. If anyone dares to use any excuse to attack my MOU Immortal Sect, as long as I have one breath left, I will turn them into dust no matter who it is." Emo's tone was very dominant. Everyone inside and outside the square could hear it. The immortal kings outside the square heard this and subconsciously shivered. They were the people from the Heaven Lord Alliance. Only now did they realize why Gonghua Heaven Meng Xianxia didn't dare to go up to Mou Immortal sect. This sect leader was this powerful, and even when the Emperor sect offended him, he dares to ask for compensation. How could he care about a few immortal kings from the Heaven Lord Alliance? He didn't kill the people from the Emperor sect, but if ordinary immortal kings like them went up, how could Mo not kill them? It seemed that there was no one who could stop him other than Immortal Monarch. Those two immortal kings from Extreme Sword sect saw Mo offended Emperor sect and gave up on the idea of greeting him. Mo breathed and went back to Lu Feng. He knew what he did wasn't the best, but after he decided to do it, his mind state went up a level. This was 3 birth chance Dao will true heart. If he killed Li He, his Dao heart would progress even more. If it was according to his true heart, he would kill Li He and not just teach him a lesson. But Mo knew he couldn't kill Li He now. If he did, there would be no return between him and Emperor sect. If he was by himself he wouldn't care, but he had a city and a sect now. But Mo knew that even though he didn't kill Li he was enemies with these people from the Grand Heaven domain. But if he did nothing, it would completely block his true heart and make him lose the possibility of breakthrough. That would be the greatest loss. Mo knew more and more clearly that not only did he have to cultivate fast, but so did the sect. Otherwise, it would never be a true sect if it only relied on him. He said those words to protect Mou Immortal sect. With the power he showed now, it meant that he had endless potential. So no matter how much people hated him, they wouldn't dare to touch Mou before he was dead. Lu Feng was very shocked. She didn't expect Mo was many times stronger than she had imagined. More than 10 Immortal King primary stage couldn't even stop him. When Mo was done, she breathed and explained the reason. Not long after Mo left, those Immortal Kings came. They were rather quiet when they first came and found their own spots, but when the tower was about to open, Li He got up and laughed, not caring that other people were still meditating. Lu Feng was interrupted when she was about to go to the next level, but she knew these people weren't ordinary, so she didn't dare to say much. However, that Li He saw Lu Feng's unhappy look and insulted Lu Feng. Lu Feng was an immortal king and she couldn't take it and rebuked, saying that it was rude to interrupt people. Now, that Li He just chose to attack straight up. Although it was just him fighting, people nearby used Immortal King domain to bind Lu Feng. Lu Feng was heavily injured in 2 rounds. Hearing this, Mo glanced coldly at Li He again. Li He shrunk his neck and didn't dare to look at Mo. At this moment, the tower suddenly emitted golden rainbows. The mist was gone and the entire tower showed itself. Title status tower is open. Everyone's attention was immediately caught. At the very bottom, a golden door appeared. People couldn't scan their spirit sense in, but everyone knew that going inside meant they went to level 1 of the tower. Most of the immortal kings at the square looked at Mo. The earlier one went in the better, but everyone knew Mo's power. If someone went in before him and offended him, it was no good. Mo saw this and got up, saying, "Go in the tower from the front to the back." The immortal king nearest the tower got up and saluted with his fists to Mo before going in. With this, the immortal kings behind followed in. Mo and Lu Feng were in the middle, so they went in halfway. As for not being able to find a room when he went in later, Mo didn't worry at all. He believed with his immortal essence and spirit sense, he would be able to find a good room easily. Only a small part of immortal kings knew that there was no use going in early. The tower would wait for everyone to arrive before opening the stairs to the second level. No one wanted to go into the rooms of the first level. When Mo and Lu Feng went in, they immediately felt a little dizzy. This seemed to be a teleportation formation door, but not really so. When they woke up, they found they were in a huge hall. The hall had no roof nor walls, but there were 9 open doors. No one could see what was inside. There were at least 1,000 people in the room. Only then did Mo realize why Lu Feng said the competition inside the tower was intense. Mo rejoiced as he saw a few familiar people. One was Hong Ling, one was Ren Fu. He didn't see Ji Shu and Chu Qi, probably because they haven't reached Immortal King. Mo didn't want to use this identity to greet them. He just told Lu Feng that those two were Marshall Brothers' friends. If these two went to MOU Immortal sect and he wasn't there, Lu Feng could let them choose a side peek each. Yemo saw a few people, but they all had conflict with Yemo Little Immortal King Lu Mang, Miao Chun Heaven Number 1 Master Di Wenqing, East Abyss Emperor Sect Xiang Changyong. Yemo scanned, but he didn't see Yen Jiutian. There was no way Yen Jiutian hasn't reached Immortal King, but he probably didn't need to come again. Yemo was a little annoyed that he didn't see Lu Zhengquan. Outside the king naming Immortal City, a gray dashing light quickly landed. A middle-aged man appeared. It was Lu Zhengquan, who just came from Yuanlu Heaven. Lu Zhengquan found out that the person who wiped out his estate was called Luo, and this guy built a new sect, MOU Immortal sect. Luo took Luo Yu continent cultivators very seriously. How could he not know that this Immortal King Luo was the person he was looking for? If his guess was right, a cultivator who just ascended for a few decades was already Immortal King power. If he kept growing, just how powerful would he be? When Lu Zhengquan heard that Yemo headed towards Immortal King tablet for king naming, he went over immediately. When Lu Zhengquan got to the tablet square, he saw the last few Immortal Kings going in. Without hesitation, he charged in the tower. There were already 1,200 Immortal Kings gathered here. At this time, pretty much all the Immortal Kings had come. Everyone was just in the first floor hall waiting for the second level to open. When Chani and them came in, they immediately saw many people they knew from the Grand Heaven Domain and began chatting. Soon, a few Immortal Kings from the Grand Heaven Domain looked at Yemo. Clearly they knew what happened, but Yemo wasn't scared at all. The other Low Heaven Domain Immortal Kings saw many nefarious glances looking at Yemo and subconsciously kept distance with Yemo. Although people can't kill here, there were worse things. If someone didn't like you and used a chance to teach you a lesson and force you into a room, then you can't leave until the tower opens again. Yemo saw two people about towards him but was stopped Chani. Chani knew that in an one-on-one fight, no one could beat Yemo. However, those two had contemptuous glances, clearly thinking Chani and them were too weak. Yemo didn't care about this at all. If these two dared to come, he would send them to the level 1 rooms without hesitation. Although there were more Immortal Kings than rooms, no one wanted to go into the first level rooms. It was a matter of pride. Yemo felt strange that Di Wenqing and Chani both came from Miaocheng Heaven, but Di Wenqing wasn't amongst the two looking for trouble. The last figure to come into level 1 caught everyone's attention. Everyone thought there wouldn't be any more people coming in, but someone came. It was Lu Zhengquan. He immediately saw Yemo, looking exactly like the image he got from Yuheng Heaven. He stared coldly at Yemo but deigned go up to talk. Lu Zhengquan had Yemo's image, but so did Yemo. He was just wondering where this guy was, and he came. Lu Zhengquan. Yemo sneered. He had decided to keep Lu Zhengquan in the first floor. Lu Zhengquan didn't want others to know his conflict with Yemo, but Yemo didn't care. Lu Zhengquan frowned. When he saw Yemo, he already considered Yemo dead. He was ready to force Yemo into a room. However, Yemo just walked up over. Was he not scared of others knowing about the Chaos Tree? There's no Chaos Tree chi on him. Lu Zhengquan felt the essence spirit sound transmission to him, and then he heard Yemo say, Lu Zhengquan, you're a heaven lord, but you attack Immortal Ascension cultivators. Since you dare to attack Luo Yu continent cultivators, then don't blame me. I already wiped out your heaven lord estate. I wanted to kill you, but you ran away. Now that you see me again, it's your bad luck. With this, everyone looked over at Yemo. Hearing this, Lu Zhengquan realized that Yemo was finding an excuse to kill him. This was good. He wanted an excuse to kill Yemo too. Even though he can't kill him here, he could do it outside. Those two Immortal Kings who wanted to look for trouble with Yemo stopped. They all looked at Yemo in shock. Yemo was a mere Immortal King primary stage, but he was this arrogant. He just casually wiped out a Heaven Lord estate. Could one do that so easily? Was he not afraid of the Heaven Lord Alliance turning him into dust? What they didn't understand was that this guy annihilated a Heaven Lord estate and could still stand here alive. Even the Low Heaven Domain Heaven Lord Alliance had more than one immortal monarch. He took in a cold breath. He finally understood just how crazy Yemo was. He dared to even destroy a Heaven Lord estate. How could he be scared of him? If he didn't give out the shoe when Blue Flame, he would probably be dead. Luo, I wasn't even at Fenggang Immortal City. Capturing Luo you Immortal Ascension cultivators had nothing to do with me. But you broke the foundation of Heng Yu Heaven. You annihilated my Heaven Lord estate. You're so arrogant. If I, Lu Zhengquan, don't kill you, I don't deserve to be king. Lu Zhengquan said. Although Lu Zhengquan said furiously, he was calmer than anyone. He didn't feel chaos tree chi from Yimo and neither did Kai Mi's essence spirit. There was only two possibilities. One was that Yimo spirit controlled the chaos tree and it was fused into his essence spirit. The second was that Yimo had chaos world and hid it there. Of course, there was another possibility that Yimo wasn't the person he was looking for, but Lu Zhengquan believed that was impossible. Kai Mi Qian Bei, would this person have chaos world? Lu Zhengquan asked. Very difficult. How could something like a chaos world be easily owned? But if he has time formation disk and knows the laws of chaos tree, he might be able to use time formation disk to spirit control the chaos tree early. The essence spirit said heavily. Just when Lu Zhengquan didn't know what to do, the essence spirit said, it's very easy. Attack him now, and if you injure him you will know if he spirit controls the chaos tree. If the chaos tree isn't spirit controlled and is on him, then he probably really has chaos world. Hearing this, Lu Zhengquan was almost shaking with excitement. People on the side thought Lu Zhengquan was shaking with fury. Indeed, which Heaven Lord wouldn't be furious if their Heaven Lord estate was wiped out? Luo, I want to see where you get your confidence. Lu Zhengquan punched out. Lu Zhengquan seemed scholarly, but his punch was like the most ferocious immortal spirit beast. In that instant, all the lethal force in the hall was gathered. Some nearby immortal king's face changed and retreated. Lu Zhengquan's punch was far beyond ordinary immortal kings. Yimo was shocked. Lu Zhengquan was far stronger than ordinary immortal kings, but Yimo's face was calm while punching out and saying, I have much more confidence than a fake gentleman immortal king like you. Yimo's punch instantly swept up a dominating immortal essence force. It didn't have any lethal force whirlpool. On the surface, it seemed Yimo's punch was far weaker than Lu Zhengquan's punch. Yimo was helpless. He didn't dare to use Void. Many people here might have seen him use Void before. If he used it, they could probably guess who he was. Yimo didn't use his full power, he only used 40%. Lu Zhengquan's power was far stronger than his expectation. Yimo didn't want Lu Zhengquan to be scared. If Lu Zhengquan was weak, then he would kick him into a level 1 room, and when the tower opens, he could still instant kill Lu Zhengquan. Now that Lu Zhengquan's power was far stronger, Yimo changed his mind. If Lu Zhengquan felt he couldn't beat him, then after exiting the tower, he would run immediately. Rumble. Lu Zhengquan's terrifying killing intent clashed with Yimo's immortal essence force. Space ripples formed in the hall. The powerful fist winds swept out. Almost everyone had to use immortal essence to stop it. A small portion of people's immortal essence barrier was torn open and received minor injuries. But against these two superpowers, no one dared to say anything. Those two immortal kings from the Grand Heaven domain who wanted trouble with Yimo also had their immortal essence barrier broken. They weren't injured, but their faces changed. Yimo didn't even fight them. Just his fist-wind immortal essence wave was enough to shatter their immortal essence barrier. One could imagine that if they really went to start trouble with Yimo, things wouldn't be so easy. Lu Zhengquan's face was red. He was shocked. He didn't expect Yimo was this terrifying. That punch was evenly matched with him. Luckily, he came back in time. If Yimo had more time to cultivate, how could he be a match for him? With this, Lu Zhengquan had even more killing intent. He wouldn't choose to keep fighting here, but after leaving the tower, he would immediately kill Yimo and take everything. Although Yimo was far beyond his expectation, he wasn't worried as only he knew he hid some power. Yimo was a little shocked. Lu Zhengquan was far stronger than he expected. Only now did he take Lu Zhengquan more seriously. It seemed that Lu Zhengquan had the capability to back up his Heaven Lord status. After the class, Lu Zhengquan didn't keep attacking, nor did Yimo. Yimo knew that Lu Zhengquan wasn't going to let him go. Thinking about this, Yimo walked up to Lu Feng and took out a storage ring, telling her, "There's some cultivation resources inside. If I can't go back to the sect for now, Give the pills and things inside as a reward when you see fit. Lu Feng accepted this without hesitation. Seeing the two just clash once and stopped fighting, everyone felt bored. At this moment, a golden stairway suddenly appeared in the middle of the hall. There was no end to the stairs. All the immortal kings here knew that the tower was officially open. The stairs led to level 2. The earlier one went the better. Lu Feng knew that she didn't need to worry about Emo, so she ran up the stairs. In the blink of an eye, only Lu Jingxuan and Emo remained. You're the person who took my chaos tree, right? You took my chaos tree, wiped out my heaven lord estate. I came back just for you. I'll treat you well. Lu Jingxuan said calmly. Emo was confused why Lu Jingxuan's tone was this calm, but he would definitely not admit such thing. Idiot, I don't know what you're talking about. You dare to harm Luo, you cultivators. Then don't blame me. Then Emo walked up the golden stairs. Seeing this, Lu Zhengxuan asked, Kaimi Qianbei, would it be him? It's definitely him, otherwise would he go wipe out the Heaven Lord estate for a few cultivation realm cultivators? Only someone who must kill you would do this. This person isn't as impulsive as he acted. When he fought with you, he probably hid some power. The essence spirit said. Lu Zhengxuan sneered. I only used 60% power just then. Even if he hides his power, he would have used 70% in that fight. I really hope I can fight with him. I just hope he doesn't disappoint me. This person ruined Qianbei's huge plans. If I don't disintegrate him, how can I be satisfied? Lu Zhengxuan didn't chase up too. He thought exactly what Emo thought. He was planning to force Emo into a room at level 1, but Emo's power changed his mind. He didn't want to scare Emo off. After Emo walked on the golden stairs, he felt an extremely strange pressure. It was strange because it wasn't just spirit sense and immortal essence pressure but also a mental pressure and bodily pressure. It also tested one's mind state. These stairs tested every aspect of an immortal king's power. If you were weak, you couldn't reach the next level. The pressure at level 2 was nothing to Emo, but from this, he could tell that the pressure later one would be getting larger and larger. Emo rapidly entered level 2 after resisting the pressure. Level 2 was similar to level 1. In the middle was a faint golden stairway. There were also 9 rooms here, but unlike the first floor, the rooms were actually filled. Some immortal kings probably knew they weren't strong and they couldn't find a room up there, so they might as well stay at level 2. Emo didn't. He went up to level 3 immediately. Then level 4, level 5. When Emo reached the 10th stairs, he saw people fighting over rooms. But the immortal kings fighting here aren't very strong. If they lost, they could only go to a higher level. If one couldn't survive on the stairs, they would be sent back to level 1. When Emo appeared at the 30th floor, there were 5 people fighting for one room. Emo didn't see Lu Feng on the way. As he went higher, he felt even greater pressure, especially spirit sense. If one couldn't withstand it, their sea of consciousness would be heavily injured. Lu Feng was at the 39th floor. She knew this was her maximum limit. But there were 30 or so people here. Lu Feng knew that even if she could go up a level, she wouldn't be able to find a room, so she might as well fight for one here. The 9 rooms were wide open. If you got here first and no one was fighting over it, you can press your hand and go in. But if there were multiple people fighting over a room, you had to stand at the door waiting to accept the challenge. There were 2 hand prints at the 2 sides of a door. If you press your hand in one of them for 3 seconds without anyone else pressing the other, this room was yours. If someone else pressed it within 3 seconds, then you would have to accept the challenge. When 2 people were fighting for the same room, no one else can enter the room. If there were too many people challenging you, you only had to win 2 times in a row and the room was yours. Lu Feng benefited from Yemo's cultivation experience and the dual spirit pill Yemo gave her, which allowed her to climb the stairs faster than others. She wasn't the first to come to level 39. She was the 9th, but luckily she put her hand on the room for 3 seconds before the 10th person came. When Yemo reached 42nd floor, he finally saw someone familiar. Renfu was fighting an intense battle with another immortal king. Yemo didn't keep going up. He wanted to help Renfu since he saw her. Rumble. Yemo's immortal king domain expanded, and that immortal king fighting Renfu was immediately bound. Renfu was completely unaffected. Renfu's ring struck the immortal king's chest, People nearby could hear the sound of ribs breaking. When this immortal king was struck away, he yelled in the air, "You dare to break the rules here. Why weren't you teleported away?" Everyone else felt strange too. There was someone who dared to break the rules and not get teleported to level 1. This was too strange. EMO didn't speak. He felt an extremely powerful rule wanting to drag him away. He could even feel that his feet was about to leave the ground. That pulling force was getting stronger and stronger. EMO sighed. He wanted to speak to Renfu, but he didn't expect intervening here would teleport him out. The other people saw EMO was fine and kept fighting. Meanwhile, for EMO, he couldn't handle that teleporting power anymore. EMO forcefully used his immortal essence, wanting to speak to Renfu first, but when he found that the pulling power disappeared when he drew it into the Golden Page world. The Golden Page world could mitigate this power. EMO rejoiced. He sent all the pulling power into the Golden Page world. The power was incessant, but it wasn't enough for the Golden Page world. "Ha-ha!" EMO laughed. It was all immortal kings here. No one was stronger than him. He wasn't scared of exposing the Golden Page world. EMO was very confident in his power. No one of the same cultivation level could see through his sea of consciousness. Seeing that EMO was really fine and not teleported away, that immortal king didn't dare to talk. He immediately went into the 43rd floor. He couldn't mess with someone like EMO. Only an idiot would act against him. Seeing this, EMO ignored that immortal king and walked up to Renfu. Renfu said, "Renfu, greet immortal friend. If immortal friend want this room, Renfu is willing to go." Renfu felt strange why EMO would fight over this room with her. According to EMO's power, he could go to a higher level. EMO sound transmission to Renfu. "I'm EMO's martial brother. I can't expose my identity restriction. EMO has finished building MOU Immortal Sect in Gonghua Heaven. If you go to Gonghua Heaven, you can go to MOU Immortal Sect. I already spoke with Elder Lufeng, you can go find her." Then EMO gave Renfu a jade card. Renfu was shook. She immediately guessed that this person might be EMO himself, but since he deigned admit it, there must be a reason. Renfu took the jade card and saluted with her fists. "Go in, I'm going up." EMO pointed at the room. Renfu nodded and put her hand on the side of the room. A few seconds later, the door disappeared. No one came to fight over this room during the process. Meanwhile, EMO had already gone on the golden stairs. EMO didn't know if going in the room can really help one sense the immortal King Dao wave and help with God art fusion and learning, but he benefited quite a lot from the golden stairs. The pressure helped him find weak spots in his spirit sense. EMO would adjust this immediately. As for his body refinement, it was even more obvious. He hadn't seen other body refinement cultivation methods. He derived his own body refinement cultivation method. This golden stairs immediately allowed EMO to sense weak spots in his body, so he can adjust the cultivation method and refine the weak spots. This was only 40-something level. EMO believed if he could go higher, he would benefit even more. At the 43rd floor, EMO stealthed himself. No matter if people could see him or not, he would keep going up in Steedle. He did this as he had the feeling that this tower couldn't stop him from going higher. He didn't want others to see him climbing the stairs so easily. More importantly, he didn't want Lu Jingxuan to know which level he was at. As EMO went higher, he immersed into the enlightenment from the stairs. He had been cultivating in the time formation disk, and although this could allow him to progress fast, there was a drawback, and that was learning and experience. When he was abstruse immortal, Dao-seeking Tower gave him a chance for enlightenment, but he learned a few god arts. Now that he was immortal king, this tower gave him another chance. Lu Zhengxuan asked about EMO wherever he could, but after he reached 43rd floor, the answers he got was ambiguous. So he sped up to 44 and 45, but Lu Zhengxuan was more disappointed. It meant that after EMO reached 43rd floor, he disappeared. Kaimi Qian Bei, how could this person suddenly disappear? Lu Zhengxuan couldn't help asking. I haven't gone through this title status tower, but it tests all aspects of an immortal king's power. Perhaps that person is strong, but his body isn't very powerful. After all, using the time formation disk means you can't be cultivating body refinement. The tower has a high requirement for body refinement. He might have gone into a room around 43 or 45. The essence spirit said. Lu Zhengxuan felt this was correct. If Yemo really used time formation disk to forcefully bring up his power, his immortal essence and spirit sense might be powerful, but his body can't be strong by using the time formation disk. When Yemo was at level 61 to 62, he finally felt some pressure. If he wasn't immortal spirit body tertiary stage, he would face even greater pressure. But when he came to level 62, he saw someone arrive here before him. It was Miao Cheng Heaven number 1 Emperor Sect Zhouqian Emperor Sect D Wenqing. Yemo knew his guy wasn't simple on the immortal ship. But D Wenqing was struggling a lot now. He stood at a room and rested a moment before putting his hand on the door. Clearly, he doesn't plan to climb any higher. Yemo estimated that this guy probably climbed the highest other than him. Yemo kept climbing. After 63 the pressure seemed much higher. But now, Yemo wasn't in a rush. He was slowly meditating and perfecting his Immortal King primary stage god art and spirit sense. Yemo thought he would be the only one left after level 62, but what he didn't expect was that he saw another masked female immortal at level 71. Although her face was concealed, her body was very good. Her white immortal robes made her seem more ethereal, but she was resting on the stairs to level 72. Yemo didn't expect there would be such an absurd woman to be able to reach level 71. He knew he could come here only because his spirit sense and immortal essence was far stronger than people of the same level, and he was an immortal spirit body tertiary stage body refinement immortal. More importantly, he had the golden page world. Yemo had some understanding of this place. He could transfer the pressure here into the golden page world. This made Yemo feel THS Tower was a realm too, and it had its own world law. The golden page world's laws might be higher than this tower's, so he could transfer the pressure here. So what right did this female immortal king have to climb here? Who is it? The female suddenly stared at Yemo and asked. Yemo dazed. He didn't expect his slightest emotions exposed himself. Yemo didn't keep hiding himself, he showed his body. It's you? You can come to level 71? The white-robed female immortal didn't believe there would be a third person to be able to come here, someone she saw before as well. But soon, she looked coldly at Yemo, wanting to see if he could go into level 72. She looked down on this hiding in the dark behavior. Yemo saluted with his fists. Hee. I like to cultivate my stealth cultivation method while going up the tower. It seems I'm the second one here. You keep doing what you want. I'm going up. The female immortal dazed. Since the tower existed, very few people could come to level 71. This guy wasn't even going to rest and was going to go up to level 72. Was he really this powerful, or was he acting tough in front of him? She had seen too many people acting tough in front of her. Seeing Yemo was really going to go up, she couldn't resist saying, actually, you're not the second, you're the third, so don't overestimate yourself. Yemo dazed. Third? Was there someone at a higher level? He was already shocked that D Wenqing was at level 60-something, but now there was actually a few stronger than D Wenqing. This vast immortal realm really had countless masters. That's right. There's indeed someone reaching level 72 earlier than me, so don't think too highly of yourself. The female immortal felt very annoyed at how casual Yemo looked. She thought that Yemo definitely needed rest. Yemo frowned. He didn't even say anything. Why was this woman so aggressive? There was no conflict of interest, so Yemo ignored her and walked on the stairs to level 72. Seeing this, the female immortal king dazed for a moment and ate a pill. She then stepped on the stairs without hesitation. After going through so many stairs, he had some experience now. Usually, the pressure would increase some each time he went up one staircase. Every 9 staircases, the pressure would increase greatly. From level 71 to level 72, there would be an increase, but the increase is far from as much as level 72 to level 73. The higher the level, the more Yemo felt he gained a deeper understanding of his god art. Suddenly Yemo stopped in the middle of the stairs. He felt his rainbow sword technique was almost about to break through. That feeling was very bad. He was just that tiny bit away from breaking through. The female immortal behind Yemo saw Yemo waving out sword moves and was immediately greatly astonished. She finally realized that Yemo wasn't acting tough. He really didn't have much pressure. Emo felt the female immortal come, so he didn't stay on the stairs and kept going up. The pressure here wasn't enough for him to break through. If he went to level 73, his sword god art might have a new breakthrough. Speeding up, Emo soon finished the staircase and came to level 72. Saint, you indeed exceed my expectations. You came up this quickly. A white-robed man said as soon as Emo came up, but before he finished, he dazed. This person wasn't Saint. Who are you? This immortal king asked Emo dazedly. The man's body wasn't as perfect as Emo's, but he was extremely handsome looking without looking feminine. Seeing that this person wasn't polite, Emo immediately frowned. What does that have to do with you? Haha. It's my bad. I'm Dingjie. The white-robed man laughed. Hearing this, Emo had a good impression of this person. I like it. You made it here. You're not that little girl from Jofan Immortal Pond. We can fight. Then Dingjie released a red spear and smashed towards Emo. Emo didn't expect this guy to fight immediately, but he released Zisu and hacked over rainbow sword rays. Explosions sounded in this hall. Dingjie's spear ripples and Emo's sword rays clashed together. Immortal essence exploded, forming crippled waves in the hall. This feels good. Dingjie called out and then charged into Emo's immortal king domain and punched. Lu Jingxuan's punch only brought up the lethal force in the space, but Dingjie's punch already brought the entire space moving. Emo's immortal king domain crippled immediately. Emo approved of this guy's power even though he didn't use full power. He punched out too. This time Emo didn't use full power but 80% of his immortal essence. A lethal force whirlpool formed. The instant Emo punched out, the space brought with Dingjie's punch was completely annihilated. Rumble. The entire hall crackled with explosive immortal essence. Haha. Amazing, you didn't even use half of your power when you fought that guy at level 1. I underestimated you. Good thing you can come to level 72 and fight with me. Otherwise, staying with that little girl is too boring. Dingjie laughed and his force rose drastically. Clearly he was going to use more power. Ding Psycho. Who are you calling a little girl? A cold and little coarse voice sounded. Emo immediately knew that female immortal came. Dingjie's face froze for a moment and he laughed, putting away his power. He grabbed back that red spear. Someone is here. There's no point in fighting. I know you didn't use your full power. I'm probably no match for you. I haven't asked of your name yet. Emo had a great impression of Dingjie. This guy was a straightforward person. Emo saluted with his fists. There are people hunting me everywhere. I live in stealth. If it was some other place, Emo would have told his real name, but there was another woman here and he didn't know who this Dingjie was. Dingjie wasn't dumb. He could tell Emo had concerns. He didn't believe Emo was worried about that Lu Jingxuan. Friend, don't worry. No matter who you are, I won't tell anyone. Goddess is Jofan Immortal Pond Saint. She's not someone who can't keep her mouth shut. I'm from Great Red Heaven, Red River Emperor Sect. Dingjie. People call me Psycho Ding. Dingjie said. I'm Emo, and solo cultivator. I just built my own MOU Immortal sect not long ago. Emo felt Dingjie was genuine. He wanted to make a genuine friend like this, so he took off his face mask magic artifact and saluted with his fists. Okay. I was wondering why someone as strong as you looked so old. So you wore a mask. Dingjie said. Then Dingjie seemed to thought of something and asked, Emo, who is the guy hunting you? After King naming, take me to see him. Emo waved his hand. I'm not scared of that guy. You don't need to intervene in such small business. That's right. Even I'm no match for you. The guy who dares to fight you will definitely be. Dingjie remembered EYI was on the side and quickly stopped himself. You're Emo? Looked at Emo for a long time. When she heard Dingjie admit he wasn't as strong as Emo, she was already shocked. Dingjie was extremely prideful. He had never admitted he was weaker than someone of the same state. But hearing Emo's name, she realized why. Emo's heart clenched. His instinct told him that Dingjie was trustworthy, so he didn't want to hide himself too much when Dingjie wanted to be friends. But he didn't expect the saint would know someone like him. Emo, don't worry, no matter who you are, Saint won't spill it. I can promise with my life. Dingjie said. Sneered. I'm not some loudmouth, you don't need to look at me with a frown. Emo smiled and saluted with his fists. Thank you, Saint E. But how did you know my name? EYI said plainly. I not only know your name, but I was on the same boat you went to Qingwei Heaven on. Who on that boat wouldn't know you? You were on that immortal ship? Emo immediately realized. If E was there, she would have definitely heard of him. He even killed an immortal king there, how could people not know? Oh, E goddess. What did Emo do on the ship? Ding Jie asked. He was only great eternity immortal at the time, but he killed an immortal king. Do you think he wouldn't be famous? E said plainly, but she was very shocked. When she heard of Emo seemed to only be great eternity immortal primary stage. How is he an immortal king primary stage now? Ding Jie raised his thumb. Emo, I made the right friend indeed. Although I don't feel I'm inferior to anyone, but I don't dare to kill immortal king as great eternity immortal. You're stronger than me. Ding Jie suddenly said. Then I'm going to come to you when I want to fight. You're the most suitable for a fight. It's uncomfortable fighting others. In my view, the more you can fight, the more you're worthy to be friends with. Emo laughed. You're Pisco Ding indeed. Ding Jie laughed, of course. It has to be someone I approve of, otherwise I can't be bothered fighting him. Emo suddenly thought of Yan Zhoutian and said, Ding Jie, I'll introduce you someone to fight. That guy's about the same power level as me, but he loves fighting. But you need to be careful, if you can't beat him he will kill you. He wouldn't care if you're from some emperor sect or the disciple of a divine emperor. Oh, there's such an interesting guy? Tell me, what's his name? Ding Jie rubbed his hands and said excitedly. He loved fighting and it was fun fighting Emo, but he knew he was no match for Emo. If he could find someone only a little weaker than him, it would be satisfying. This person is called Yan Zhoutian. We have conflict too, Emo said. Ding Jie waved his hand. The next time Yan Zhoutian sees me, he's dead. Then, Ding Jie said, when I finish king naming, I'll go to Gonghua Heaven Mo, you immortal sect, to find you. I'm gonna go in and feel the immortal King Dao waves. Emo, you choose a room too. I didn't expect there to be 3 of us at level 72. Emo smiled. I still want to try level 73. What? Emo, are you okay? You can go to level 73? There's only 1 level difference, but the pressure is almost twice as great. Ever since the tower existed, even the most talented immortal king can only stay at level 72. Ding Jie said seriously, if Emo couldn't get to level 73, he would be heavily injured. You still want to go to level 73? E couldn't resist asking. She thought differently to Ding Jie, since Emo could easily come up to level 72. He might really be able to reach level 73. I still want to try. Since I've already come, how can I stop if I don't challenge my limit? Emo said. Ding Jie dazed and raised his thumb. Okay. I'll go up with you. Are you crazy? After you enter the tower, you will never be able to come again. If you fail at level 73, you might be teleported back to level 1. It would make it 100 times harder for you to reach Immortal Monarch. E said in shock. Ding Jie laughed. I'm called Psycho Ding. If I don't do a few insane things, I wouldn't deserve that name. Emo, it was such a wise decision to be friends with you. My friends aren't as bold as you. Saint Eyi, you can stay here. I'm going up with Emo. Luckily, I didn't choose a room, or how can I participate in something this amusing? Ding Jie laughed and was going to step on the stairs. The stairs went from faint gold to gold. Let's go up together. Seeing this, Emo was going to follow immediately. Ding Jie didn't care, but Emo couldn't harm him. If this guy couldn't stop the pressure, then he would be teleported to level 1. Ding Jie looked at Emo in confusion. Emo, why didn't you try to stop me? Emo felt this Ding Jie was more and more interesting. He laughed. Psycho Ding. If I persuade you, would you not go up? Of course not. If you can try, why can't I? Ding Jie answered without hesitation. Emo waved his hand. That's it. I know I can't persuade you, so why do it? Ding Jie laughed again. He really felt he made the right friend this time. Emo said seriously, Ding Jie, cultivation is going against the heavens. If you know something is impossible but you still do it, that's dumb. But if there's a sliver of hope and you don't do it, you'll be that tiny bit off from the people standing at the peak. Just like how you're going to level 73 now, you know the chance of success is 1%, but there's still a chance. So from that, I won't stop you. Plus, Emo paused and laughed. You're going with me. How can I sever your immortal king path? Ding Jie looked at Emo in different light. To be able to feel a sliver of hope here, Emo was no ordinary person. Just when he was about to compliment Emo suddenly said something completely unreliable. How can one help people in the tower? They would be teleported out at any time. Wait, suddenly said. I want to try that sliver of hope. Ding Jie heard this and dazed. You're the Saint of Zhou Fan Immortal Pond. If you dare to take this risk and end your Dao, how can your sect let you go? Don't blame it on Emo by then. Yi's face went cold. Ding Jie, which level I go is my own business. What does it have to do with Emo? How come you guys can go but I can't? I'm the saint of an emperor sect. Can't I pursue that 1% chance? Emo is bullshitting. Do you really believe it? I just feel Emo is a worthy friend. That's why I'm going with him. Do you feel the same too? Ding Jie looked at in confusion. Said plainly, I don't know clearly if Yemo's is a worthy friend, but I just feel what he said is some right. Even if there's 1% chance, I still want to try. If she went to level 73 for king naming, it would definitely be twice as strong as king naming at level 72. Ding Jie said nothing and neither would Emo. He didn't see Ding Jie climbing to level 72, but from how did it, Emo suspected if she could go to level 73. The moment Emo stood on the golden stairs, he felt things wasn't right. The pressure was indeed twice as strong, but most importantly, there was God art learning pressure. That meant that if you learned a God art on here and if you can't create it before you reached level 73, you would be crushed by the pressure. It might not necessarily be a God art, it could also be a cultivation problem that has troubled you for a long time. With that terrifying spirit sense and immortal essence pressure as well as mental pressure, who would have the time and effort to create a God art? Just after going a few steps, and Ding Jie's face became very pale. Emo saw it and knew the two couldn't last anymore. Ding Jie might be able to go up a few stairs, but was about to be teleported away at any time. Emo reached out his immortal king and spirit sense domain, forming walls of spirit sense. At the same time, all the terrifying pressure crushed towards Emo's face went pale as well. He immediately contacted the Golden Page World and sent all the law pressure into the Golden Page World. Even so, he was still feeling shaky. Emo was certain that, with such powerful pressure, even an immortal emperor might not be able to take it. If he didn't have the Golden Page World, he would have been teleported away already. Ding Jie and were in despair. This terrifying pressure wasn't something they could take. Only now did they realize how much they had to pay for a simple sentence. Was ready to be teleported. Whether it was level 1 or level 72 depended on her luck, but instantly, they felt the terrifying pressure disappear. They then saw Emo's face pale and shaky. They immediately realized what was going on. Just when Ding Jie wanted to speak, yelled, "He's taking on the pressure right now. If you separate his attention, it won't benefit any of us. What we can do now is to use this time and learn our God art and then reduce the pressure for Emo." Was equally as shocked as Ding Jie. At this moment, Emo had eased up. The pressure was all sent into the Golden Page World. Then, Emo began to learn Sword God art. His Sword God art still lacked that little bit to be perfected. As Emo learned more, he walked further on the stairs. Every time he felt he needed to improve a bit more, he subconsciously walked a step forward. Ding Jie and were immersed in their God art creation. They didn't have any pressure at all. Emo's God art learning gradually affected their learning, and as Emo walked forward, they subconsciously followed Emo. When Emo made the last step and reached level 73, a complete new Sword God art formed. The next moment, Emo released Zisu and hacked out. And Ding Jie only reached level 73 after Emo hacked out. As soon as they reached level 73, they felt they were in shivers. The nearby space seemed to be able to move and was going to bring them towards the purple sword ray Emo hacked out. They quickly used Immortal Essence to stop the urge to charge towards the sword ray and looked at Emo's strike in shock. Even the extremely stable space in this tower was hacked out a dark crevice. Rumble. The purple sword rays left a purple mark in here that didn't disappear. The strike was done, but nearby space still seemed to be moving. There were some light cracks. Ding Jie and EYI knew clearly that although it seemed Yemo's move had ended, it actually didn't. The killing intent of the strike was still sucking away the nearby life force. Seeing Yemo clutch that strange sword tightly, Ding Jie and Yi were speechless. Yemo was still in enlightenment when he hacked this out. They knew they were far from being able to stop that strike. They were at the back of this strike. If they were at the front, there would be nothing they could do. Ding Jie knew that although he created a new god art, he couldn't use it. Compared to this magnificent strike, Yemo taking them to level 73 wasn't that shocking anymore. After a long while, Yemo opened his eyes and the sword in his hands flew up and went into the sheath. This strike is called crevice. Hearing this, the two couldn't help thinking about the crevice Yemo's strike left. It was no ordinary crevice, it brought out the void lethal force. The two knew that this strike meant death and destruction. The instant Yemo put away Zissou, the two felt the nearby lethal force dissipate. Good sword. Ding Jie sweated cold. Yi looked at Yemo with more disbelief. Ever since she begun cultivation, all she had come in contact with were grand masters or prodigies. But she had never seen an immortal king as powerful as Yemo. Yet, this immortal king wasn't from the grand heaven domain. He came from the low heaven domain. Even Ding Jie admitted he was no match. Just how terrifying was this person? Ding Jie wasn't famous in the grand heaven domain, but she knew just powerful Ding Jie was. He just didn't lower himself to fight with ordinary people. Brother Yi, you're the first person that I actually admire. That strike is too terrifying. Next time I'm not going to fight you. I'll go teach that Yan Jutian a lesson. Ding Jie shook his head. He was planning to fight Yemo after exiting the tower. Yemo didn't explain the strike and smiled to the two. Are you two going to stay at level 73 or come to level 74 with me? Yi woke up and immediately said, Thank you for bringing us Martial Brother Yi. Yi still wants to go to level 74. She knew now wasn't the time to be polite. If she went to level 74 she could definitely learn and use this new god art. Ding Jie clapped his hands. Okay. I didn't believe it at all before, but now I do. Yemo, you're definitely the number one of this tower and you took us to be second and third. Since Yemo brought you up on my account, let me be second later, you can be third. Ding Jie thought with Yi's temper, she would definitely rebuke this. But what he didn't expect was that Yi and said seriously, I'll listen to Martial Brother Ding. All I want to is just to go up. Whatever ranking I get will be my fortune. Yi knew Ding Jie was right. Yemo only took her up due to Ding Jie. He considered Ding Jie a friend while he was still wary of her. Saint Yi, you don't seem very right. Ding Jie looked at Yi in shock. Yi not only didn't rebuke but also called him Martial Brother Ding. Haha, okay, I finally made you willingly stay third. Yemo, take us, I want to go to level 74. Ding Jie laughed. Yemo was straightforward and didn't waste time. Then let's go up. The three went from 73 to 74 and then to 75. At level 75, Ding Jie created and used his spear god art, Rain Veil. Level 76, EYI used her first god art, Sword Cloud Kill. At level 79, Yemo created 5 wave kills. Level 80, Ding Jie and EYI's Immortal King Dao wave improved even more. When the two woke up from the endless enlightenment, they realized they had come to level 81. This is the peak? Yi woke up in shock. Ding Jie also looked at the floating 81 in shock. They thought they were dreaming. In the history of the tower, rarely anyone could even come to level 73, but they were at level 81 now. This was the top. Their achievement may never be surpassed. Although they just went up a few levels, the enlightenment they've had in their entire lives didn't add up to these few stires. I understand. Ding Jie murmured. Yi said nothing, but she did too. The greatest enlightenment didn't come from the rooms but came from the stairs which started at level 73. They knew that the things they felt were something they wouldn't be able to feel even if they stayed in a room for 1,000 years. If one didn't reach level 73, they would never be able to achieve the highest or they couldn't Dao Vindication. The two were very grateful to Yemo. Yemo led them to level 81. Emo stood at level 81 and didn't move. He didn't have the same enlightenment these two did. Suddenly, Emo looked back at the two. Did you two have a lot of enlightenment at this tower? The two nodded at the same time. EE said very much. Not only did I learn new god art, I also fused my power and have an extremely deep understanding of Immortal King Dao status. Ding Jie nodded. Seeing Emo not talk, E suddenly asked, Martial Brother Yi. You probably learned more than us, right? Ding Jie looked expectantly at Emo too. Emo thought for a moment and said, other than learning a few god arts, I didn't have any learnings about Immortal King Dao status nor power. How is that possible? E and Ding Jie blurted out at the same time. They could come here all because of Emo. Emo said heavily, Ding Jie. I take you for a brother, so I say this. As for EE, I trust your character, so I believe the words I say here today won't reach out. Emo, don't worry, although I'm a Pisco, but if I choose a friend, I will never betray him. I've seen many immortal kings, and you're the only one I admire. Ding Jie said without hesitation. E immediately followed, Brother Yi. Zhantai Yi swear that I won't spill any of Brother Ye's secrets. If I betray my oath, I will die to divine damnation. Emo nodded. Your surname is Zhantai? Yes, I was taken in by the sect when I was young. The sect leader gave me the surname. E said. For someone like Ding Jie, it was normal that he didn't swear. If he did, then he wouldn't have taken you as a friend. Emo. Tell us, what did you find? Ding Jie couldn't wait anymore. Emo nodded and asked, EE goddess. You can Ding Jie came from Emperor Sex. After the Divine Emperor battle, did anyone else vindicate their Dao and become Divine Emperor? E quickly said, Brother Yi, if you approve of Zhantai E, then just call me E. Okay, E, tell me, have you heard of anyone reaching Divine Emperor? Emo asked. Ding Jie answered without hesitation, no. I heard that after the Divine Emperor battle, no more Divine Emperors were born. The strongest people were only half divines. E added, it said that the people closest to Divine Emperor eventually failed in Dao vindication. Those few people are Yen Wudao, who wanted to use the 33 heavens for Dao vindication, Pengli Grand Emperor, who wanted to use Dao vindication seed to vindicate Dao, and the most ordinary Heilingyu. Neither of them succeeded. Emo sighed, the immortal realm might not be the original immortal realm. As I walked up here, I had this new feeling, and that was the laws of the immortal realm are incomplete even in the grand heaven domain. Thus, cultivating in a place with incomplete laws, no matter how talented you are, you can't vindicate Dao. At most, you're an immortal emperor. Emo came to this conclusion through the Golden Page world. The Golden Page world's laws were incomplete, but it was a complete world. Meanwhile, the immortal realm was split into 33 pieces. Emo, you're saying that no matter how hard we work, we can only be immortal emperor at most? Ding Jie asked in shock. Emo nodded. If I'm not wrong, it should be so. Emo knew that if the laws of his Golden Page world was complete, he didn't need to vindicate Dao in the immortal realm. He could use his Chaos world for Dao vindication, but that was only for him. I trust you. Ding Jie's face also went serious. Yi's face was heavy too. As a top prodigy, of course she hoped she could vindicate Dao. She had the instinct that Emo was very capable, and he wouldn't lie to her on this. Emo, is there something you haven't said? Ding Jie asked. Emo said, perhaps it has to do with my cultivation method. On the last 9 stairs I saw this scene. It was an endless heaven domain. A red sun is falling west. As it did, the boundless heaven domain continent slowly melted. The last immortals looked at the falling sun in despair, but there was nothing they could do. They could only melt away with this world. Disappeared world. The immortal realm is in its dusk? Ding Jie and Yi asked in shock. Emo said heavily, I don't know, but after this scene came out, I had the feeling that if I stay in this tower, I would never be able to vindicate Dao. It's like being locked up in a cage and eventually disappear like that world. What do we do? Yi subconsciously asked. Emo said, go to level 82. What? Yi and Ding Jie said in shock at the same time. There was only 81 levels, and they were all here at level 81. There was no golden stairs. How do they get to level 82? Where does level 82 come from? Ding Jie asked. Emo asked, then where does level 81 come from? Ding Jie was more confused. Level 81 already existed. Everyone knew that since the tower existed, there was level 81. He fell silent. She seemed to have understood what Emo meant. Emo said, whether it's inside or outside, can your spirit sense scan more places? No, Ding Jie answered without hesitation. Then since the tower existed, has someone come to level 81? Definitely not. Then how do people know there's 81 levels? There's no stairs to level 82. Are we going to force our way up? Ding Jie looked at Emo in confusion. Emo shook his head. Even an immortal emperor wouldn't be able to open the tower, much less us. But I feel that this tower is like a world with laws. You can't see the top nor the end. Only once we find a law that a path would form. We might not be able to see this path, but it can lead to level 82. This? Ding Jie and Yi were dazed. To find a law of the tower and walk out of it, which immortal king can do that? Seeing the two look at him, Emo said, I can try, just wait for me on the side. This might take a few months, or I might not be able to find a way by the time the tower opens. The two had no objections. But what I need to say it, if I fail, you might not even be able to keep your essence spirit alive. Before Emo finished, Ding Jie immediately said, I don't mind. You're not afraid, why should I? I don't mind too, Yi said without hesitation. Even an ordinary person wouldn't let go of the opportunity for Tao vindication, much less her. Emo sat in the middle of level 81 and soon went into meditation. He used the 3-birth chant to derive, and soon a Tao wave of when the universe was first born emanated from Emo. The two immediately felt this sliver of Tao wave. The two felt it was an ordinary and quickly sat down, feeling that sliver of 3-birth chant Tao wave. Emo had never used 3-birth chant in front of someone else, and this time, the two benefited greatly. Their power grew rapidly under that sliver of Tao wave. Their talents were countless times higher than Emo. As soon as Emo used this chaos cultivation method in front of them, they immediately learned some of the benefits. Time flew by, 1 month, 2 months, 10 months, but level 81 was still very silent. The doors to the rooms were wide open. When the 11th month passed, Emo suddenly opened his eyes. He had vaguely grasped something, but he couldn't clearly sense it. Emo knew he didn't have the time to keep feeling it, so he had to wake up. He wanted to use this vague feeling to find that hidden path. The instant Emo woke up, the two's enlightenment were gone. Just when they wanted to speak, Emo waved his hand, stopping them. Emo suddenly motioned in the air before stepping in air. Ding Jie and Yi found in shock that an obscure stairway suddenly appeared. They knew this was definitely not caused by Emo's magic. Emo found a sliver of law in here, and thus the stairway formed. From this, it could be seen that the stairs from level 1 to level 81 were formed by laws. Suddenly, they heard Emo say, open up your mind and feel the lead of my spirit sense. Ding Jie let open his mental barrier without hesitation. If Emo wanted to attack Ding Jie now, he could make Ding Jie disappear with one will. Yi hesitated for a second and then did the same. She wasn't scared that Emo would harm her, but she was a woman after all. A saint too. If she opened her mind to a man, it would ruin her reputation. It was like getting assaulted. She believed Emo wouldn't do anything to her. Indeed, as soon as she opened her mind, Emo's spirit sense went into her sea of consciousness and led her forward. It controlled the two in where they stepped and how hard. When the two were in sync with Emo used a few hand signs and took another step. This foot clear landed mid-air, but when it landed, a faint stairway appeared. As Emo stepped forward, the three soon left the ground of level 81. After walking tens of steps, they completely disappeared from level 81. The two knew that they were like walking on a steel string. One mistake and they wouldn't get into level 82 but get crushed by space disposition. Emo knew how dangerous and scary this was, but he had no other way. He definitely didn't want to be trapped in this tower and can't vindicate his Tao. Even though his golden page world might provide another way, he didn't want to take that risk. Instead of leaving a mark like this in his mind, he might as well gamble. He might be rising his life, but Emo trusted his 3-birth chant. It could even derive God-grade cultivation method, plus he was immortal king now. EMO went slower and slower, and at the end of the 11th month, EMO stopped. EMO said heavily, "We should be here. When I step out, our minds will be disconnected. You need to step out immediately with me." Yes, the two agreed. If this tower was really a world with laws, then leaving it was going from one realm to another. EMO derived the best time and path. The two can't waste one moment, or they might be torn apart by space disposition or fall into the endless void. After about 10 seconds, EMO suddenly said, "Go!" Then EMO stepped out. The two followed immediately.